Before you do anything else, stop for a moment and listen to me. Do not brush this aside. Do not tell yourself you will come back later. There is a reason those words caught your attention. Before it's too late, I have to tell you this. Those words are not standing in front of you by accident. They are not just a title. They are the reason I have interrupted your day. They are the reason your eyes stopped here. They are the reason your heart feels something it cannot quite explain. My child, there are moments in life that pass quietly, and then there are moments that carry the weight of a crossroads. This is one of those moments. I know you have been moving through your days carrying things you rarely talk about. I know about the questions you keep pushing to the side. I know about the exhaustion that follows you even when you try to rest. I know about the private battles, the hidden fears, the disappointments you never fully healed from, and the parts of your heart that still wonder if anything will ever truly change. You have asked for clarity more than once. You have looked for signs. You have waited for direction. You have tried to silence certain thoughts, yet they keep returning. You have tried to convince yourself that everything is fine, but deep inside, you know there are things that need your attention. You know there are places where you have drifted. You know there are choices you have delayed. You know there are wounds you have carried longer than you should have. That is why I need you to stay with me. Do not skip ahead. Do not leave after a few moments. Do not let distractions steal what I am trying to place in your hands today. What you are about to hear is not meant for the crowd. It is meant for you. I am speaking directly into the places nobody else can see. I am speaking to the parts of your life you have hidden beneath routines, responsibilities, and distractions. I am speaking because I love you too much to remain silent while something important hangs in the balance. If you leave now, you may miss the very answer you have been asking me for. You may walk away from the warning that was meant to protect you, the truth that was meant to free you, or the confirmation that was meant to give you courage for your next step. But if you stay, if you listen carefully and allow these words to reach deeper than your ears, you may finally understand why you have felt restless, why certain doors closed, why certain burdens have lingered, and why I brought you here today. I see you more clearly than you see yourself. I know where you have been. I know what has weighed on your spirit. I know what you have been postponing. And before more time slips away, before another opportunity passes unnoticed, before you convince yourself once again that you can deal with it later, there is something I need to tell you. So stay with me, my beloved child. Lean in. Quiet the noise around you. Open your heart completely. Because what comes next is not just another message. It may be the very thing I have been trying to tell you all along. My beloved child, you have been moving through your days carrying more than most people realize. And even when you smile, even when you answer messages, even when you show up and do what needs to be done, there is still a quiet place inside you that has been unsettled for a long time. You have tried to keep going without facing it. You have tried to call it stress, exhaustion, timing, pressure, or just a rough season. But I know you more deeply than that, and I know when your soul is tired in a way that sleep cannot fix. I know when your spirit has been asking for my presence while your habits keep pulling you in the opposite direction. I know when you are functioning on the outside while something fragile on the inside is asking to be seen, touched, and healed. That is why I am speaking to you now with a kind of urgency that may feel unusual, not because I want to overwhelm you, but because I love you too much to keep letting you pretend that everything is fine when you and I both know it is not. You have been telling yourself that you will deal with certain things later. You have said that when life slows down, you will pray more honestly. You have thought that when your mind is less crowded, you will return to me with more focus. You have imagined that when you feel stronger, you will finally let go of what has been quietly damaging your peace. But later has become one of the ways you have hidden from the truth. It hence become a gentle-sounding excuse that keeps your healing at a distance. And I say that to you tenderly, not to shame you, because I understand how you got here. You did not wake up one day and decide to become distant. You got tired. You got disappointed. You got hurt in places you did not know how to talk about. You carried burdens for longer than you should have. You learned how to survive with pain sitting quietly in the background. You learned how to keep going even when your heart felt numb. And over time, you started accepting conditions that were never meant to be normal for you. It is what I need you to see right now. Some of what you have been calling just life is actually a sign that your soul has been living too far from rest. Some of what you have been calling being realistic is actually your fear of hoping again. Some of what you have been calling I'm just busy is really a pattern of avoiding the places where I have been trying to meet you. I am not angry as I say this. I am close to you. I am speaking like a father who sees the child he loves getting weaker while still insisting they are fine. I am speaking because I know what happens when a heart keeps ignoring its own hunger. It starts settling for less than peace, and starts adapting to emptiness. It starts calling disconnection maturity and emotional numbness stability. And I do not want that for you. I did not create you to live in survival mode and call it strength. I did not create you to carry secret heaviness and keep performing as though that is the same thing as being whole. I am asking you to stop here, in this moment, because this is not about religion or appearances or saying the right things. This is about whether you are willing to let me tell you the truth before the distance grows so familiar that you stop noticing it. You still recognize my voice, and that matters more than you know. You still feel something when I speak to your heart, even if it has been buried under noise, habits, regrets, and fatigue. That means you are not too far. That means this is still a tender moment, and tender moments matter. They are often where healing begins. They are often where the walls soften just enough for light to come in. And I need you to understand that I am not here to condemn you for the time you lost. I am here because I do not want you to lose more. I am here because your peace is too precious. Your future is too precious. The calling on your life is too precious. The part of you that still wants truth, still wants freedom, still wants closeness with me, is too precious for me to stay silent while you drift further into habits and thoughts that slowly drain your spirit. So I need you to listen now with more than your ears. Listen with the part of you that has been quietly asking for help. Listen with the part of you that is tired of pretending. Listen with the part of you that knows you were made for more than this dull ache, more than this hidden pressure, more than this exhausting cycle of postponing what needs to change. Because what I have to tell you is not meant to scare you. It is meant to wake you up while your heart is still soft enough to respond. And because I love you, I want to tell you something even more plainly now, in a way that leaves no room for confusion. The danger in your life is not always the obvious thing you fear. It is not always some sudden collapse, some dramatic ending, or some visible disaster that everyone would notice. Very often, what steals from you happens quietly. It happens when you keep putting off the conversation you need to have with me. It happens when you return to the same thoughts that leave you feeling heavy and call it normal because you have lived with them so long. It happens when you keep tolerating what drains you because it feels familiar. It happens when you keep making small compromises with your peace and tell yourself that one day you will deal with it seriously. My child, I need you to see how this works, because if you do not understand the quiet ways damage happens, you will keep waiting for a dramatic warning and miss the gentle one I am giving you right now. A soul rarely becomes numb all at once. It becomes numb by degrees. It happens when your convictions start feeling inconvenient instead of loving. It happens when prayer feels like something you will get back to instead of the breath your spirit needs. It happens when you begin to feel more comfortable with distraction than with stillness, because stillness forces you to notice what hurts. It happens when your pain becomes so familiar that you stop reaching for healing and start building your identity around endurance alone. I know you have been strong. I know you have survived days you thought might break you. I know there were nights when you felt emotionally cornered and still woke up the next morning and carried on because you felt you had no other choice. I have seen all of it. I have been near you in every hidden battle, every exhausted sigh, every private disappointment, every moment when you wanted relief but did not know how to ask for it honestly. And that is why I am speaking with this kind of seriousness now. You do not need another inspirational thought. You do not need another surface-level comfort that leaves the deeper issue untouched. You need truth spoken with love. You need the kind of interruption that helps you realize you have been tolerating too much for too long. You need to know that I am not asking you to become stronger before you come to me. I'm asking you to stop using strength as a reason to stay distant. You have been trying to carry what should have been surrendered. You have been trying to manage what should have been confessed. You have been trying to control what should have been released. And in doing that, you have become tired in places that no one around you can fully see. But I can see it. I can see how your heart reacts when certain memories come back. I can see how some choices leave you emptier than you admit. I can see the moments when guilt creeps in, the moments when fear disguises itself as logic, the moments when you tell yourself you are fine because admitting you are not would force you to finally let me in more deeply. I know all of it, and I have not turned away from you. That matters. I am still here. I am still speaking. I am still reaching. I am still willing to restore what hath been strained, quiet what has been racing inside you, and soften what life has made hard. But you must stop treating this like something that can wait forever. There are moments in your life that are windows, and this is one of them. Not because my love has an expiration date, but because your responsiveness matters. Your openness matters. The tenderness of your heart matters. A heart that keeps delaying eventually starts protecting the very things that wound it. A person who keeps ignoring truth eventually starts reshaping their life around avoidance. I do not want that to become your normal. I want you to notice this moment for what it is, mercy arriving before more damage is done. I want you to feel how close I am, not in some distant or abstract way, but in the intimate way a loving father kneels down and speaks directly to the child who has been trying too hard to hold themselves together. I am not asking for a polished response from you. I am not asking for perfect words. I am asking for honesty. I am asking for stillness. I am asking you not to run from this moment just because it touches something uncomfortable. Let it touch you. Let it reveal what needs to be revealed. Let yourself feel what you have been pushing down. Let yourself admit where you are tired, where you are compromised, where you are afraid, where you have drifted, where you need me more than you have been willing to say. Because before anything changes around you, something needs to become honest within you. And that is why I had to tell you this now, before the distance grows, before the numbness deepens, before the habits harden, before the silence becomes something you mistake for peace. I am calling you now because I want you back in the place where your soul can breathe again. My beloved child, I want you to understand why you are here with me in this exact moment, because if you miss the meaning of this encounter, you may walk away thinking it was only a passing feeling when it was actually something far more personal. You have crossed paths with many voices, many distractions, many things that demanded your attention, and yet here you are, reading these words while something in your spirit feels unusually still, almost as if time itself has slowed down just enough for you to hear me more clearly. That is not random. Do not dismiss that. Receive it. Sit with it. Let it settle inside you. I know you have often wondered whether I still speak to you in ways you can recognize. I know you have had moments where you questioned if the nudges in your heart were truly from me or just your own thoughts trying to comfort you. But I need you to see this one plainly. This moment carries my fingerprints all over it. I have a way of reaching you when your soul has grown tired of pretending it is satisfied. I have a way of finding you when the noise around you has become so constant that only something sacred can cut through it. I have a way of arranging ordinary-looking moments that turn out to be holy intersections, where what seems small on the surface is actually heaven leaning close and asking for your attention before you lose yourself further in what has been draining you. You did not come here by accident. You did not simply stumble into a title, a sentence, or a thought that happened to fit your mood. I brought this to you because I know what has been happening beneath your routines. I know the places where you have been spiritually tired, emotionally guarded, mentally crowded, and quietly aching for something real. I know the way you have kept moving because life demanded it, while deeper parts of you have been asking questions you have been afraid to answer honestly. I know how often you have told yourself you are okay because you did not want to open the door to everything you would have to feel if you admitted the truth. But I also know that your heart has limits. I know the exact point where your soul begins to whisper, I cannot keep living this disconnected and call it normal. That whisper matters. Pay attention to it. Do not push it down. That is one of the places where I begin speaking most clearly. Because when your usual defenses grow tired, truth can finally get through. And that is why I have interrupted you now. I have not come to accuse you. I have come to reach you before you get even more comfortable living around your pain instead of through your healing. I have come because I love you enough to be direct. I have come because your life is too valuable to be shaped by distraction, delay, and emotional exhaustion. I have come because some things in you are ready to change, even if you have not fully admitted it yet. You may have thought this was just another message among many, but deep down you can already feel the difference. There is a weight here. There is a tenderness here. There is a kind of quiet pressure that does not feel like fear, but it does feel important. That is because I am not merely giving you information. I am drawing near to you. I am speaking into the places where you have been uncertain, where you have been compromised, where you have been slowly learning how to live with less peace than I ever intended for you. And I need you to notice how personal this is. I am not speaking in general terms. I am speaking to you. I know your patterns. I know your defenses. I know the things you reach for when you want comfort but end up feeling emptier. I know the moments when you distract yourself because stillness would make you face what hurts. I know the areas where you are faithful and the areas where you have quietly drifted. None of that has made me turn away. It has made me come closer. That is the kind of love I have for you. It does not move away from your weakness. It moves toward it with truth, tenderness, and an open hand. So stop calling this coincidence. Stop reducing this to timing. Stop brushing off the stir in your heart as just emotion. Let yourself accept that I am reaching you right now because I know exactly what your soul needs and exactly when your heart is soft enough to hear it. That realization alone can change the way you respond. It can turn a passing moment into a turning point. It can turn a brief pause into a doorway. It can turn your guardedness into surrender if you will let it. So I am asking you gently, but clearly, you not stay on the surface with me here. Go deeper. Let this become personal. Let yourself admit that I know you. Let yourself admit that I have found you here on purpose. Let yourself admit that if I am speaking now, then there is something in you that cannot afford to remain untouched. And because I want this truth to settle into you more deeply, I need you to see how carefully I have been moving around your life long before this moment ever reached your eyes. You have looked back at certain days and called them random. You have called some delays frustrating, some disappointments unfair, some interruptions inconvenient, and some quiet moments forgettable. But I have been threading meaning through places you did not recognize at the time. I have been steering you, slowing you, protecting you, exposing you, and drawing you in ways you only partly understood. There were times when I let a door stay closed because if it had opened when you wanted it to, you would have walked through it carrying the wrong things in your heart. There were conversations that unsettled you because I wanted you to see what was really shaping you. There were nights when you could not ignore your own thoughts because I was trying to get you to stop running from what had been building inside you. There were moments when your usual distractions stopped satisfying you, and that was not because I had abandoned you. It was because I was removing the false comfort so you could begin to recognize your real hunger. My child, that is how personal my care for you is. I do not wait at a distance hoping you eventually figure everything out alone. I move around your life with intention. I know when to whisper. I know when to wait. I know when to let you feel the emptiness of what cannot sustain you. I know when to confront you with tenderness. I know when to press pause on your momentum because if I did not, you would keep calling speed progress while your spirit quietly falls behind. This is why I need you to stop treating your life as if the only things that matter are the visible outcomes. There is more happening than what you can measure. There is more happening than what other people can see. There is a spiritual conversation unfolding beneath the surface of your days, and you have been part of it even when you did not realize it. The ache you feel when you know you are settling for less than peace is part of that conversation. The discomfort you feel after certain choices is part of that conversation. The way your heart reacts when truth finds you is part of that conversation. And this message, right here, right now, is not disconnected from all of that. It is the continuation of a conversation I have been trying to have with you through quieter means for longer than you know. That is why there is urgency in my voice now. It is not because I have become impatient with you. It is because I have watched how close you have come to normalizing things that are not meant to be normal in your life. I have watched how easily you excuse what leaves you spiritually thin. I have watched how often you tell yourself you are just in a season, when in truth you are being invited to change. I have watched you carry tension in your soul and call it adulthood. I have watched you carry emotional bruises and call it strength. I have watched you live with inner distance and call it being busy. And because I love you, I will not let those labels go unchallenged forever. I want you to feel how direct I am being, but I also want you to feel how safe it is to hear me. I am not exposing you to shame you. I am revealing what is true so I can lead you out. I am not naming the problem so you feel trapped. I am naming it so you can stop pretending it does not exist. That is why this message reached you now. Not because you finally earned it. Not because you perfectly positioned yourself for it. It reached you because I chose this moment to come closer. It reached you because your heart is more ready than your mind has admitted. It reached you because there is a part of you that is tired of delay, tired of compromise, tired of shallow comfort, tired of acting like the distance does not matter. So do not waste this moment by analyzing it from afar. Respond to it. Lean in. Open the places you have kept guarded. Stop trying to decide whether this is really for you, and simply let your spirit answer what it already knows. If you feel the weight of this, it is because I am here. If you feel exposed, it is because truth is touching what has been hidden. If you feel drawn in, it is because love is calling you deeper. Accept that. Stay with me in that. Let it work on you. Let it soften you. Let it awaken you. Because when you finally stop resisting the idea that I know exactly how to find you, you will also realize I know exactly how to restore you. My child, now that you understand this moment is not SLUCHAKATRI or ST Yuri but a divine interruption, do not treat what I am doing here as small. What you are receiving is not only for you. It is a seed meant to become a harvest in many other hearts who are still wandering in noise, waiting for light. When you choose to support this message, through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link placed before you, you are placing oil in a lamp that must not go out. I tell you truly, the one who sows generously will also reap generously, and I am watching what you release in faith. This is your moment to partner with me, to turn a personal encounter into a river that reaches beyond you. If your heart feels moved, it is because I am inviting you directly. This is not pressure, it is purpose. What you give becomes bread in the wilderness for someone else's soul. So do not delay. Act now, and let your obedience carry my voice farther than you can see. My beloved child, I need to speak to you about the way you have been telling yourself that change will happen later, because this has become one of the most subtle and dangerous traps in your life. And if you do not recognize it for what it is, you will keep losing precious ground while convincing yourself you are simply being patient. There is a difference between waiting on me and postponing what I have already made clear. There is a difference between divine timing and delay that is fueled by fear, comfort, pride, or emotional exhaustion. And I need you to let me say this to you very honestly. You have spent too much time calling avoidance wisdom. You have spent too much time dressing up hesitation in spiritual language so it feels safer than it really is. You have told yourself that when you feel more ready, you will obey more fully. You have told yourself that when life gets quieter, you will come closer to me. You have told yourself that when the pressure eases, you will finally address what has been troubling your heart. But what if the pressure is part of what is revealing the truth? What if the discomfort you keep trying to escape is actually exposing the areas where you most need my presence? What if the better time you keep waiting for is not coming because the invitation was always meant for now? Sit with that. Let it challenge you. Do not defend yourself too quickly. I am not speaking to wound you. I am speaking because I want you free. I know how the human heart works when it is tired. I know how easily you can convince yourself that delay is harmless when the thing I am asking of you feels costly. You may not want to face the habit that keeps draining you. You may not want to release the relationship that keeps confusing your spirit. You may not want to admit how much fear hath been shaping your choices. You may not want to confront the truth that some of your exhaustion is not only from life, but from living divided inside. And so you tell yourself you will get to it later. What later has become a room where many people quietly lose their peace. Later is where conviction goes to fade if you are not careful. Later is where clarity can become compromise. Later is where you can feel the truth deeply one moment and then slowly bury it beneath routines, distractions, excuses, and emotional numbness. I need you to understand that because the enemy rarely needs to convince you to reject truth outright if he can simply convince you to postpone it until it loses its weight. That is how so many hearts drift. Not through dramatic rebellion, but through small delays repeated so often that distance begins to feel ordinary. That is why I am being so direct with you. I do not want you mistaking delay for harmlessness. I do not want you telling yourself you are still close to me while consistently refusing the very steps that would bring you closer. I do not want you thinking you are protecting yourself by waiting when in reality you are strengthening the grip of the very things that keep you stuck. My child, every time you delay an act of obedience that I have already placed clearly in front of you, something in you gets shaped. Either your heart becomes more responsive, or it becomes more resistant. Either you become more open, or you become more guarded. Either you become more honest, or you become more practiced at rationalizing what you know is not right. That shaping matters. It matters more than you realize. You are not only making decisions in those moments, you are becoming someone through those decisions. And that is why I need you to stop waiting for a version of yourself that magically feels brave enough, peaceful enough, disciplined enough, or spiritually polished enough to respond. The courage you need will often meet you in the act of obedience, not before it. The peace you crave will often arrive after surrender, not before it. The clarity you are begging for will often come once you stop negotiating with what I have already shown you. I know this may confront you, but let it also comfort you. You do not need to have everything figured out before you respond to me. You do not need to clean up every corner of your heart before you let me in more deeply. You do not need to wait until you feel spiritually strong to return. Come now. Decide now. Turn now. Speak now. Release now. The better time you keep waiting for is often the very moment you are in when my voice is still clear and your heart is still tender enough to answer. And let me take you deeper, because I want you to understand what prolonged delay actually does to your inner life if you keep letting it stay unchecked. At first, it feels small. It feels manageable. It feels like one more day, one more week, one more season before you truly deal with what I have been pressing on your heart. You tell yourself it is temporary. You tell yourself you are just overwhelmed. You tell yourself you are not saying no, only not yet. But over time, not yet begins to shape your spiritual reflexes. You start getting used to hearing conviction without responding to it. You start learning how to feel discomfort and then move on quickly enough that you do not have to sit with it. You start building emotional habits around avoidance. You start turning down the volume on the very inner signals meant to protect you. That is what I need you to be careful with, because when you do that long enough, you may still look functional, still appear responsible, still carry on with life, but something inside becomes less alive. Prayer becomes less natural. Truth feels less piercing. Stillness feels more uncomfortable. Honest surrender feels more threatening. You start preferring what numbs you over what heals you, because numbness asks less of you in the moment. But numbness always costs more in the end. It steals your sensitivity. It steals your peace. It steals your joy. It steals the freshness of your connection with me. And then one day you wake up wondering why you feel so far, when the distance was not created by one massive decision, but by 1,000 little moments where you kept saying later to the very thing that could have brought life back into your spirit. I do not want that for you. Hear the tenderness in my voice as I say it. I do not want you living in that kind of slow drift. I do not want you becoming someone who can hear truth and remain unmoved. I do not want you building a life around coping when I am offering restoration. I do not want you settling into patterns that make your soul smaller, quieter, more guarded, more cynical, and more tired than it was meant to be. That is why I am asking you now, not in theory but in practice, stop postponing the conversation. Stop postponing the surrender. Stop postponing the release. If you already know what I have been asking you to walk away from, do not keep calling it confusion. If you already know where your heart has drifted, do not keep calling it a season. If you already know what needs to be confessed, what needs to be cut off, what needs to be healed, what needs to be brought into the light, then do not insult your own soul by pretending you still need more signs. You have enough light to take the next step. Take it. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Do not wait for emotional certainty. Do not wait for a dramatic moment. The holy thing to do is often much simpler than you think. It may be one honest prayer. It may be one difficult decision. It may be one act of obedience you have been avoiding. It may be one conversation with me where you stop performing and finally tell the truth. Start there. Start now. Invite me into the exact place you keep postponing. Open the door you keep standing in front of. Bring me the fear behind the delay. Bring me the comfort you do not want to lose. Bring me the wound you keep using as a reason not to move. I can handle it. I am not asking you to overcome it alone first. I am asking you to stop delaying the place where I can begin doing the work. My child, some windows in life are sacred because they are moments when your heart is soft. Your awareness is clear, and my voice is near in a way you can still recognize. Do not waste a window by telling yourself you will open it later. Open it now. Walk through it now. Let this be the moment you stop turning conviction into delay and start turning truth into action. My beloved child, I want you to come closer now, because before I speak to what must change, I need to speak to what you have been carrying in secret. I need you to stop running from the private places of your heart for just a little while and let me sit with you there. Do not rush. Do not brace yourself. Do not try to organize your emotions before you let me touch them. Just stay here with me and listen. I know more than you have told anyone. I know the thoughts you push down before they fully form. I know the ache that returns at strange hours, when the room is quiet, when the day is over, when the distractions fade and you are left with yourself. I know how often you have looked calm on the outside while inside you were carrying pressure that felt like a stone in your chest. I know how you have learned to function while hurting, how you have learned to answer people politely while your mind is exhausted, how you have learned to keep conversations light because you are afraid that if you speak honestly, everything you have been holding back might spill out. I know the hidden heaviness that sits behind your smile. I know the old wounds that still sting even when you act like they no longer matter. I know the betrayal that taught you to be careful, the disappointment that taught you not to expect too much, the shame that taught you to hide the parts of yourself you think are too damaged to be seen. I know the habits you fell into because you needed comfort and did not know how else to soothe what was breaking inside. I know the memories you revisit even when you say you are over them. I know the conversations you replay. I know the regrets you keep touching like bruises just to see if they still hurt. And yes, my child, I know they do. That is why I am speaking this way to you now. I am not standing at a distance, handing you instructions while ignoring your pain. I am right here, looking at the places in you that have been bleeding beneath the surface. And I am telling you that you do not have to keep carrying them alone. Stop pretending that survival is the same thing as healing. Stop calling your numbness maturity. Stop calling your guardedness wisdom when so much of it was built from hurt. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with me. You are more tired than you admit. You are more wounded than you let others see. You are more emotionally burdened than your routines reveal. And that is not a judgment. That is an invitation. Let the truth open something in you. Let it soften the part of you that has been trying so hard to stay composed. Let it break the silent agreement you made with pain, the one where you decided you would just live around it instead of letting me lead you through it. I never asked you to become so skilled at hiding what hurts. I never asked you to make peace with being inwardly strained. I never asked you to become the kind of person who can comfort everyone else while privately starving for comfort. You were not made for that. You were made for closeness. You were made for truth. You were made for the kind of inner peace that does not require you to shut down parts of yourself just to get through the day. And I need you to hear me clearly now. The things you carry in secret do not become less real because you have learned how to function around them. They still shape you. They still influence your choices. They still affect the way you see yourself, the way you trust, the way you love, the way you receive correction, the way you react when life becomes uncertain. Hidden pain has a quiet voice, but it can steer life if it is never brought into the light. So come into the light with me. Bring me the fear you never named. Bring me the resentment you keep justifying. Bring me the loneliness you keep masking with busyness. Bring me the habits you reach for when you want relief. Bring me the ache you cover with productivity. Bring me the version of you that feels ashamed, exhausted, confused, or spiritually distant. I am not asking because I do not already know. I am asking because healing begins where honesty enters. Come as you are, not as you wish you were. Stay here with me. Breathe. Open your hands. Stop clenching so tightly around what has already been hurting you for too long. And because I want this to go deeper than comfort, I need you to understand how these secret burdens have been affecting you in ways you may not have fully recognized. What you hide does not stay still. It moves quietly through your thoughts, your reactions, your expectations, and your choices. That is why I want you to pay attention now. Watch what rises in you when someone disappoints you. Watch how quickly you withdraw when something touches an old wound. Watch how certain memories can change the atmosphere inside you in a matter of seconds. Watch how some patterns keep repeating, not because you are weak or hopeless, but because pain that remains hidden keeps trying to protect itself, and in doing so, it often creates more pain. This is why I do not want you merely inspired right now. I want you awake. I want you discerning. I want you willing to look at your inner life with courage. I want you to notice what you have normalized. You have carried rejection so long that sometimes you expect distance even when love is being offered. You have carried disappointment so long that sometimes you prepare for loss before joy even arrives. You have carried guilt so long that sometimes you resist receiving peace because part of you still believes you should remain uneasy. You have carried fear so long that sometimes you call it wisdom when it is actually a chain around your heart. I say this with tenderness, but I say it plainly. Some of the things you call personality are actually bruises. Some of the things you call just how I am are really survival responses built in seasons where you felt unsafe, unseen, or spiritually dry. I am not exposing that to shame you. I am exposing it because I want you free. I want you to stop building your identity around what wounded you. I want you to stop protecting the pain as though it has earned a permanent place in your life. It has not. That heaviness is not your name. That fear is not your identity. That secret habit is not your home. That hidden sorrow is not the final chapter of your story. You are not just the person who got hurt. You are not just the person who had to endure. You are not just the one who keeps holding everything together while privately falling apart. You are mine, and because you are mine, I will not agree with the lie that the best you can do is survive with a smile while carrying a storm inside. So listen carefully and follow me here. Stop minimizing what hurts. Stop dismissing the signs. Stop telling yourself it is not that serious when your peace keeps leaking through the same cracks. Open the door. Name what is there. Speak to me honestly. If you are angry, say it. If you are ashamed, say it. If you are tired of fighting the same thing, say it. If you feel spiritually dry, say it. If you are afraid of what healing will require, say it. I would rather hear your honest weakness than your polished distance. I would rather meet you in the truth than watch you keep performing wellness while your soul is asking for rescue. And let me tell you something precious now. You do not need to be afraid of what comes up when you get honest with me. The tears you have been holding back will not scare me. The confusion you cannot explain will not push me away. The contradictions inside you do not disqualify you from my tenderness. I already know the full picture. I already know where the roots go. I already know what happened, what it cost you, and how it shaped the way you learn to move through the world. That is why I can lead you gently and truthfully at the same time. So come closer. Let me uncover without crushing you. Let me reveal without humiliating you. Let me touch the places you avoid. Let me speak into the rooms of your heart you have kept dim for too long. Do not rush to the next thing. Do not bury this under another task. Say, breathe, listen, receive. Let me be the first safe place where your inner world no longer has to hide. As you stay with me here, I want you to feel the shift that begins when you stop hiding and start allowing yourself to be known. It may feel uncomfortable at first because secrecy trains the heart to fear exposure, but exposure in my presence is not destruction. It is the beginning of relief. It is the moment the locked room finally gets air. It is the first crack where light enters the place you thought had to remain hidden forever. And I want you to understand that when I ask you to bring me what you carry in secret, I am not asking you to relive every wound for the sake of pain. I am asking you to stop letting those wounds live in darkness where they keep influencing you without being healed. There is a difference. You do not need to become trapped in endless self-analysis. You do not need to turn your pain into your identity. You do not need to spend all your time dissecting what broke you. What I am asking is simpler and deeper at the same time. I am asking you to stop denying what is there. I am asking you to stop pretending you can outwork, outweight, or outdistract what needs my touch. I am asking you to let me into the places you have tried to manage alone. Invite me in now, not later. Now, sit in the quiet and let me show you what has been pressing on your heart. Let me help you separate truth from trauma, wisdom from fear, discernment from self-protection, and peace from numbness. Let me teach you again what it feels like to be held without having to perform. Because that is part of what you have forgotten. You have spent so much time being useful, responsible, resilient, and composed that you have almost forgotten what it feels like to simply be loved in your weakness. But that is what I am offering you here. Not a harsh inspection, not a cold diagnosis, a holy invitation. A father's hand, a place where your inner life can exhale. So do not leave this moment carrying the same weight in the same way. Lay something down. Name something. Surrender something. If there is a person you still have not forgiven, bring that before me. If there is a memory that still controls your reactions, bring it before me. If there is a private compromise that keeps stealing your peace, bring it before me. If there is a fear that keeps disguising itself as practicality, bring it before me. You do not need to solve everything in one breath, but you do need to stop hiding it all under layers of normalcy. That is where many people remain stuck for years. They learn to live with inner fractures and call it adulthood. They adapt to spiritual fatigue and call it a busy life. They normalize emotional distance and call it maturity. But I am calling you out of that. I am calling you into something more honest, more whole, more alive. This is where that begins. Not with a performance, not with a dramatic display, with truth, with willingness, with the quiet courage to say, this is what I have been carrying, and I do not want to carry it alone anymore. Say that to me now, even if only in your heart. Say it without polishing it. Say it with tears if you need to. Say it with trembling if that is all you have. I hear the trembling too. I hear what your words cannot fully express. And as you bring it to me, understand this. What you surrender in truth, I can begin to heal in depth. What you keep hidden, you keep heavy. What you place in my hands, I can begin to restore. So do not turn away now. Stay in this sacred place. Let me continue. Let me work. Let me love you more deeply than the secret burdens ever convinced you was possible. My child, as you lay down what you have carried in secret, understand this: healing that is received must also become light that is shared. There are others hiding in the same shadows you just stepped out of, waiting for a voice that feels like mine to reach them. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are sowing into freedom, not just yours, but theirs. I have said, freely you have received, freely give, and this is how my healing multiplies across hearts. Your offering becomes a stream that carries truth into dry places, a flame that warms those still trembling in the dark. You feel the pull to help. That is me, inviting you to take part in something eternal. Do not close your hand now that your heart hath been opened. Give, and watch how I return it to you, pressed down, overflowing, and alive with purpose. Act now. My beloved child, I need to tell you something that may feel sobering, but it comes from love, not from harshness. If you keep ignoring what I am saying to you, life may continue on the surface in ways that seem almost unchanged for a while. You may still wake up, answer people, go to work, laugh in the right places, carry responsibilities, and appear stable enough that no one around you notices what is slowly happening inside. That is part of what makes this so dangerous. The most serious losses in your life do not always arrive like thunder. They often arrive like fog. They settle gradually. They blur your vision little by little. They make it harder to tell how far you have drifted until one day you realize that what once felt clear now feels distant. What once moved you now barely touches you. And what once brought peace now feels unfamiliar. That is why I am speaking to you before the drift deepens. I do not want you measuring danger only by outward collapse. I want you to recognize the quiet erosion of the inner life. Because if you keep brushing off the convictions I am giving you, if you keep telling yourself you will deal with the deeper issues later, if you keep returning to what empties you while pretending it is harmless, then something in you will slowly begin to harden. Your spirit will become less responsive. Your sensitivity to truth will grow dull. The discomfort you feel now when you are out of alignment with me may become easier to ignore, and that is not freedom. That is a warning sign. Do not confuse numbness with peace. Do not mistake silence for health. Do not assume that because the consequences are not immediate, they are not real. You know how a small leak can damage a whole house if it is left untreated. You know how rust can eat away at something strong if it keeps spreading in hidden places. You know how a single neglected wound can become infected if it is never clean. In the same way, the parts of your life you keep excusing, postponing, or protecting can slowly shape you into someone more tired, more cynical, more divided, and less alive than you were meant to be. I say that because I want you awake, not afraid. I want you to see clearly. I want you to stop romanticizing your resilience while quietly losing your tenderness. I want you to stop admiring your ability to cope while your soul is becoming less responsive to my voice. There is a cost to long-term resistance. There is a cost to living in delay. There is a cost to hearing truth and repeatedly pushing it aside. That cost is often paid in peace, clarity, intimacy, joy, and spiritual strength. And because those losses happen slowly, people often do not notice until they are carrying a heaviness they cannot explain. They wonder why prayer feels dry. They wonder why worship feels distant. They wonder why joy feels forced. They wonder why the things that once nourished them no longer feel alive. They assume I moved away, but so often the deeper truth is that their own repeated resistance trained their heart to stay guarded. I do not want that to become your story. That is why I am speaking now while your heart still feels this. That is why I am asking you to take this seriously. Not because I want to pressure you, but because I refuse to watch you slowly adapt to a kind of inner emptiness that I never intended for you. So listen carefully. Stop and examine your life. Look at the places where your peace keeps leaking. Look at the habits that leave you feeling hollow. Look at the compromises you keep excusing. Look at the emotional patterns that keep repeating. Look at the way you sometimes avoid stillness because you are afraid of what it will reveal. Those are not small things. Those are signals. Those are mercy. Those are the gentle alarms of a loving God refusing to let you quietly settle into less than a life I have called you to. Respond to them. Do not mute them. Do not numb them. Do not scroll past them in your spirit. Let them lead you back before the drift becomes deeper and the distance begins to feel ordinary. And let me tell you with even greater tenderness what that slow hardening can do if it remains unchallenged, because I want you to understand the seriousness without losing sight of my love. When a heart keeps ignoring truth, it does not usually become cold overnight. It becomes crowded first. It fills with noise, busyness, distractions, low-level anxieties, emotional habits, and familiar compromises that make it harder to hear what once felt clear. Then the heart becomes defensive. It starts protecting what should have been surrendered. It starts explaining away what should have been confronted. It starts calling patterns personality, wounds wisdom, and distance normal life. That is how spiritual erosion happens. It is subtle. It is quiet. It is cumulative. And because it is gradual, it can feel strangely manageable until the day you realize you are no longer living with freshness, only with maintenance. You are no longer pursuing peace, only trying to manage tension. You are no longer walking in freedom, only negotiating with the chains. You are no longer being honest with me, only giving me the parts that do not threaten your comfort. My child, do not let that become your rhythm. Do not let that become your atmosphere. Do not let that become the emotional climate of your inner life. If you do, even blessings can feel heavy because your heart will not know how to receive them freely. Even love can feel suspicious because old wounds will keep filtering it. Even open doors can feel threatening because fear has been given too much authority. And then the enemy will try to convince you that this is just who you are now. He will tell you that you are simply more guarded, more tired, more realistic, more detached. But I tell you the truth, that is not maturity. That is the residue of unresolved distance. And I am confronting it now because I do not want you losing years to a version of yourself that was built around coping instead of healing. Think of what happens when a lamp is left untrimmed and the flame grows weak. The light is still there, but it no longer fills the room the way it should. Think of what happens when a garden is left unattended. Weeds do not ask permission. They simply grow in the silence and steal what was meant for fruit. Think of what happens when a road is left unrepaired. Small cracks widen until travel becomes difficult. In the same way, the inner life requires attention. The soul requires honesty. Your spirit requires response. That is why I am not simply comforting you here. I am calling you to action. Stop minimizing. Stop postponing. Stop pretending that what is slowly draining you is harmless because it has become familiar. What needs cutting off. Step away from what keeps stilling your peace. Bring into the light what has been living in the dark. Speak to me honestly. Make the call. End the pattern. Delete the thing. Walk away from the compromise. Sit in the stillness you keep avoiding. Open the wound to the healer instead of letting it keep poisoning the rest of your life in secret. These are not abstract spiritual ideas. These are real invitations. These are holy commands wrapped in love. And if you obey, if you respond, if you let this moment become more than emotion, then what could have become a long season of erosion can instead become the turning point where your soul begins to breathe again. That is what I want for you. Not fear, but awakening. Not condemnation, but course correction. Not panic, but holy honesty. I am speaking strongly because what is at stake is precious. Your peace is precious. Your clarity is precious. Your tenderness is precious. Your future is precious. Do not keep gambling those things on the false comfort of delay. Come back now while your heart still feels the pull. Come back while conviction still stirs you. Come back before the quiet hardening grows roots you never meant to plant. And because I love you enough to be completely clear, let me say one more thing before we move forward. Ignoring this does not only affect you in private. It affects how you love, how you listen, how you discern, how you trust, how you carry responsibility, how you respond to the people around you, and how you walk into the future I have been preparing. Inner distance always leaks outward eventually. It may show up in impatience you cannot explain. It may show up in cynicism that feels reasonable but is really unresolved pain speaking through you. It may show up in shallow connections because vulnerability feels too risky. It may show up in impulsive decisions because you are craving relief more than wisdom. It may show up in spiritual confusion because you have become so used to noise that clarity feels foreign. That is why this matters now. That is why I keep drawing you back to this point. I am not only trying to spare you from feeling empty. I am trying to protect the whole landscape of your life. I am protecting your future relationships. I am protecting your calling. I am protecting your ability to hear me clearly. I am protecting the softness in you that the world keeps trying to harden. I am protecting the part of you that still longs for truth, still longs for holiness, still longs for rest that is real and not manufactured. So do not walk away from this as if it was merely emotional. Let it become practical. Let it become immediate. Choose one thing right now that you will stop tolerating. Choose one pattern you will no longer excuse. Choose one place where you will become honest with me today. Make it concrete. Make it real. Do not promise yourself a vague future response. Decide. Act. Pray. Surrender. Invite me in with specifics. My child, there is mercy in being warned before greater damage is done. There is love in being interrupted before a slow drift becomes a deep wilderness. There is grace in being confronted before numbness becomes your normal. That is what this is. Grace that refuses to flatter you. Mercy that refuses to leave you comfortable in what is quietly stealing from you. Love that is gentle enough to hold you and strong enough to tell you the truth. So receive both. Receive the comfort and the correction. Receive the tenderness and the instruction. Receive the invitation and the urgency. Then do not just admire the moment. Respond to it. Let this be the place where you stop making peace with what hath been weakening your spirit. Let this be the place where you say, no more. I will not keep ignoring what I know. I will not keep calling distance normal. I will not keep feeding what empties me. Say it with honesty. Say it with trembling if you need to. Say it while your heart is still open. And then let me meet you there. Because the moment you stop ignoring the truth is often the exact moment the healing begins to move. My beloved child, I need you to hear the difference between urgency and rejection, because if you misunderstand my tone, you may shrink back from the very love that is trying to bring you home. When I speak firmly to you like this, it is not because I am pushing you away. It is because I refuse to let you keep slipping into places that are hurting you while pretending I do not see it. I am not standing over you with cold disappointment. I am standing beside you with open hands, speaking with the kind of seriousness that love uses when something precious is at risk. And you are precious. Your peace is precious. Your calling is precious. Your tenderness is precious. The quiet places inside you that still want truth, still long for rest, still ache for my presence, those places are precious to me. So when you feel the weight of my words, do not confuse that weight with anger. It is care. It is protective love. It is the kind of love that will not flatter you while something important is slipping through your fingers. You have lived long enough around voices that either condemned you without helping you or comforted you without telling you the truth. But I do neither in the shallow way the world often does. I will comfort you honestly. I will correct you tenderly. I will call you higher without humiliating you. I will tell you when something is dangerous. Not because I enjoy exposing your weakness, but because I know what that weakness is costing you when it remains hidden and unchallenged. So come closer instead of pulling back. Do not hear my urgency and assume I am tired of you. Hear my urgency and realize I am fighting for you. Hear my directness and recognize that I still believe in what is possible for your life. Hear the firmness in my voice and understand that I would not speak like this if I had given up on you. If I were done with you, I would let you drift in silence. If I had turned away, I would let you keep calling your distance normal and your compromises harmless. But I have not done that. I am here. I am still reaching. I am still interrupting the patterns that have been numbing you. I am still pressing on the places where you have grown comfortable with less than peace. That alone should tell you something beautiful. You are still being pursued. Let that truth land in you. Let it warm the part of you that feels ashamed. Let it calm the part of you that assumes correction means rejection. It does not. Correction from me is often one of the clearest forms of love you will ever receive. A father who sees danger and says nothing is not loving. A father who watches the child he cherishes walk toward the edge and stays quiet is not kind. And I will not be that kind of father to you. I will call out when I see you moving toward what can wound your spirit. I will confront the lies you have made agreements with. I will disturb the false peace you built around avoidance. I will expose what you have been normalizing if it means rescuing your heart from slow destruction. But I do all of that while staying close. I do all of that without withdrawing my love. I do all of that while still holding out mercy. So do not run from this moment. Stay in it. Let yourself be loved strongly. Let yourself be corrected safely. Let yourself receive both comfort and truth at the same time. You do not have to choose between tenderness and instruction with me. I am both. I know where you are weak, and I do not despise you for it. I know where you are conflicted, and I do not abandon you for it. I know where you have drifted, and I do not cross your name out because of it. I call you back because you are still mine. I speak into the fog because I still want you clear. I raise my voice over the noise because I still want your heart alive. So stop assuming that the weight you feel means you are in danger of losing me. The real danger was in continuing down the same road without waking up. This moment is not evidence that I am far. It is evidence that I am near. This urgency is not the sound of rejection. It is the sound of rescue. Receive it that way. Open your heart that way. Do not brace against me. Lean into me. Come nearer. Sit down in my presence. Breathe. Let your guard come down. Let me speak to the parts of you that still expect punishment when what I am offering is restoration. I am not calling you to panic. I am calling you to return. And because I want you to feel how deeply personal this is, I need you to understand what fear has been doing in your life and why I am confronting it now. Fear is not always loud. It does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it sounds reasonable. Sometimes it speaks in careful phrases and presents itself as wisdom. Sometimes it hides behind your need to stay in control. Sometimes it calls itself caution while secretly keeping you from surrender. Sometimes it dresses up as practicality while slowly teaching you to trust your own defenses more than my voice. You have felt this, haven't you? You have sensed how certain choices in front of you feel heavier than they should, not because they are unclear, but because they require you to release control. You have noticed how you sometimes hold back from deeper obedience, deeper honesty, deeper prayer, deeper change, because part of you is afraid of what will happen if you truly let me lead. That fear matters. Bring it into the light. Do not hide it behind spiritual language. Do not pretend it is only timing when so much of it is about trust. I am not saying that to shame you. I am saying it because once you name fear honestly, it begins losing the authority it gained through secrecy. That is why I want you to be brave right now. Not loud, not dramatic. Brave. Sit with me and admit where fear has been shaping your choices. Admit where you have been more committed to emotional safety than spiritual freedom. Admit where you have stayed in what is familiar because uncertainty felt too costly, even when you knew I was asking for more. Admit where you have chosen controlled misery over surrendered healing because at least controlled misery felt predictable. I know that sounds sharp, but I say it with compassion because I know how human that is. I know how deeply pain can train the heart to cling to familiar discomfort rather than risk the unknown. I know how wounds can make you think guardedness is strength. I know how disappointment can make you believe that staying half open is safer than fully trusting me again. But listen to me carefully. The place you are trying to protect may be the very place that is keeping you trapped. The walls that once helped you survive may now be keeping you from receiving what you have been praying for. The caution that once made sense may now be standing in the doorway of your healing. So I'm inviting you to something holy here. Let me retrain your heart. Let me teach you again what safety feels like in my presence. Let me show you that surrender is not the same as vulnerability before those who wounded you. Let me show you that yielding to me is not losing yourself, but finding the version of yourself that fear has been smothering. Come out from behind the walls. Step forward. Do not wait until you feel no fear. That is not how trust works. Trust often begins while fear is still speaking, but you choose to obey my voice instead. That is why I keep telling you to come closer. That is why I keep asking you to respond now. Not because I expect you to be fearless before you move, but because I know that as you move with me, fear loses ground. The chains loosen when you stop feeding them. The fog lifts when you stop treating it like weather and start seeing it for what it is. The lies weaken when you expose them to truth. So do that now. Expose them. If fear hath been telling you that I will shame you if you come close, reject that lie. If fear hath been telling you that change will cost you too much, challenge that lie. If fear hath been telling you that you are too inconsistent, too compromised, too late, too tired, too complicated for me to restore, reject that lie too. Those voices do not come from my heart. My voice may be firm, but it never strips you of dignity. My voice may confront, but it never condemns you into paralysis. My voice calls you forward. My voice creates a path. My voice gives you room to breathe while still asking you to act. So hear me clearly now. Do not retreat. Do not close up. Do not interpret conviction as abandonment. Let my love be stronger than your assumptions. Let my truth be louder than your fear. Let my invitation pull you farther than your shame can hold you back. And now, my child, I want to press this even deeper into your spirit because you need to know what returning actually means. Returning is not performing for me until you feel acceptable. Returning is not trying to build a perfect version of yourself and then presenting that version to me for approval. Returning is not a polished speech, a dramatic emotional moment, or a spiritual performance meant to impress heaven. Returning is much simpler, much more honest, and much more powerful than that. Returning is when you stop running. Returning is when you stop defending what is hurting you. Returning is when you stop pretending that you are fine and tell me the truth. Returning is when you say, I am tired and I do not want to keep living this way. Returning is when you sit in my presence and let yourself be seen. Returning is when you stop negotiating with what I have already made clear. Returning is when you open the hand that has been clenched around fear, control, resentment, hidden habits, or quiet compromise, and you finally say, take this. I do not want it more than I want you. That is what I am calling you into. Not fear, not panic, not self-hatred, not spiritual striving. I am calling you into an honest homecoming. I am calling you into the relief that comes when you no longer have to maintain the exhausting image of being okay. I am calling you into the peace that begins when your heart stops hiding. I am calling you into the kind of closeness where you can feel my correction and still feel safe at the same time. That matters, because many people know how to feel convicted but do not know how to feel held. Many people know how to hear warning but do not know how to hear welcome. I want you to hear both. I want you to know that the same voice telling you not to stay in what is draining you is the same voice saying, come sit beside me. Let me carry what you keep trying to carry alone. So do not leave this moment merely sobered. Leave it invited. Leave it awakened. Leave it with a decision forming inside you. Do not keep analyzing whether you are ready. Step closer. Open your mouth and speak honestly. If all you can say is I need you, start there. If all you can say is I am afraid, but I want to come back, say that. If all you can say is help me stop resisting, that is enough to begin. I hear the broken prayers too. I hear the tired prayers. I hear the confused prayers. I hear the prayers that come out in fragments because your heart has been carrying too much. Do not wait for a perfect sentence. Do not wait for a dramatic moment. Respond in truth. Let this be the place where fear stops making your decisions. Let this be the place where my love becomes more believable to you than the lies you have been carrying. Let this be the place where you stop reading my urgency as rejection and start receiving it as the rescue it truly is. Stay with me. Let me lead. Let me hold you and correct you. Let me welcome you and confront what is harming you. Let me love you in the strong, steady, fatherly way your soul has been aching for. I am not calling you to fear. I am calling you back. Come now. My child, you now see that my urgency is not rejection but rescue, and this rescue must reach beyond you. There are countless hearts still trapped in fear, still mistaking silence for abandonment, still longing for the voice that called you back. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, with the PayPal link in the description, you step into my work as a co-laborer, helping my call echo where it has not yet been heard. I have declared, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And your giving is your answer. This is not just support. It is participation in salvation's unfolding story. I will bless the hand that opens, and I will guard what you entrust to me. Do not hesitate in this sacred moment. If you feel the stirring, it is me asking you to move. So give now, and let my call travel through your obedience. My beloved child, now that I have brought you this far, I need to tell you what I am truly asking from you, because if you misunderstand surrender, you will keep turning it into something complicated, intimidating, or distant while I am actually inviting you into something deeply personal and immediate. I am not asking you for a performance. I am not asking you to impress me with polished language, religious effort, or emotional intensity that looks spiritual on the outside, but still keeps your real heart hidden. I am not asking you to clean yourself up first, become more disciplined first, feel more holy first, or somehow manufacture the perfect version of yourself before you step closer to me. That is not surrender. That is self-management dressed in spiritual clothing. And I need you to let that go. I do not need a curated version of you. I do not need the voice you use when you are trying to sound strong. I do not need the explanations you use to protect your image. I do not need the filtered truth. I want the real thing. I want the part of you that is tired of fighting the same battles. I want the part of you that is embarrassed by how often you return to the same places. I want the part of you that still feels the sting of what happened years ago even though you tell everyone you are over it. I want the part of you that doubts, the part that overthinks, the part that is scared of what change will cost, the part that is weary of trying, the part that feels ashamed to even start over again. Bring that to me. Bring all of that to me. Do not wait until it is neater. Do not wait until it makes sense. Do not wait until you can describe it beautifully. Lay it down as it is. Surrender is not dramatic in the way many people imagine. It is often quiet. It is often a trembling choice made in honesty. It is often the moment when you stop defending what is harming you. It is often the moment when you stop explaining away the pattern, stop minimizing the wound, stop pretending the compromise is harmless, and finally say, "This is the truth. I do not want to keep carrying this. I do not want to keep living like this. I want you more than I want the comfort of staying the same." That is the kind of surrender I am asking from you. It is not about volume. It is not about appearance. It is not about performance. It is about truth. It is about trust. It is about opening the places you have kept under lock and key because you were afraid of what would happen if they were fully seen. And I need you to hear this carefully. Nothing you reveal to me in honesty will surprise me. Nothing you confess will make me recoil. Nothing you finally admit will make me love you less. I already know it all. I know the pattern. I know the fear behind it. I know the wound beneath it. I know the moment it began. I know the ways it has been reinforced. I know the lies that have kept it alive. I know the relief you chase when you return to it. I know the guilt that follows. I know the cycle. That is why you do not need to educate me about your struggle before you surrender it. You need only stop hiding it. You need only stop treating secrecy like safety. You need only stop telling yourself that you can keep one hand on me and one hand on what is draining you without it costing you. The divided way of living is exhausting you. It is making your spirit thin. It is training your heart to split itself between what gives life and what steals it. And because I love you, I am asking for wholeness. I am asking for a full yes. I am asking you to stop negotiating with what I have already shown you. I am asking you to stop treating partial surrender like obedience. If you know what keeps pulling you away from peace, bring it to me fully. If you know what you keep returning to when you feel lonely, anxious, ashamed, or overwhelmed, bring it to me fully. If you know what conversation, relationship, habit, fantasy, resentment, or hidden compromise keeps weakening your clarity, bring it to me fully. Not in theory. Not eventually. Now. This is the invitation. This is the moment. Do not turn surrender into a Sunday concept. Make it real. Make it honest. Make it specific. Sit with me and tell the truth without editing yourself. And because I want your surrender to become practical, not abstract, let me show you what honest surrender often looks like in real life. It may look like you finally naming the thing you keep avoiding. It may look like you saying, "This relationship is confusing my spirit, and I know it." It may look like you admitting, "This habit gives me temporary comfort but leaves me emptier every time." It may look like you saying, "I keep pretending this anger is justified, but it is poisoning me." It may look like you confessing, "I have been more committed to control than to trust." It may look like you admitting, "I am tired of performing strength while secretly feeling fragile." That is the kind of honesty I want from you. I do not need vague promises. I want real surrender. I want you to stop circling the truth and step into it. I want you to stop saying, "Someday I'll deal with this," and instead say, "Today I bring this to you." There is power in that kind of specificity because it breaks the spell of denial. It cuts through the fog. It pulls hidden things into the light where they lose the false authority they gained in secrecy. That is why I want you to act. Write it down if you need to. Speak it aloud if you need to. Pray it in tears if that is what comes. But do not keep it general. Do not keep it soft enough that you can walk away unchanged. Let this be real. If there is a number you need to block, block it. If there is a pattern you need to interrupt, interrupt it. If there is a place you keep returning to that leaves your spirit compromised, stop going there. If there is content that keeps feeding your inner unrest, remove it. If there is an apology you need to make, make it. If there is a boundary you need to set, set it. If there is a secret you need to bring into safe light, bring it. This is where surrender becomes visible. This is where love becomes action. This is where the yes in your heart becomes a step in your life. And do not tell yourself that because the step feels small, it does not matter. Small steps taken in truth can break open years of delay. A single honest act can become the hinge on which an entire season turns. One confession can bring air into a room that has been suffocating for years. One boundary can stop the bleeding. One moment of obedience can expose how much power fear has been pretending to have. That is why I am asking you to move, not just feel. Feeling matters, but feeling without response often becomes another form of delay. Let this moment carry weight in your choices. Let it shape what you do next. Let it cost you something if it needs to. Some forms of surrender will feel like loss at first because you are releasing what became familiar. But do not be deceived by that first sensation. What feels like loss in the moment may actually be the beginning of relief. What feels like an empty hand may actually be a hand I can finally fill. What feels like a painful cut may actually be surgery that saves the rest of the body. Trust me there. Stay with me there. Do not run back to what I am asking you to release just because the first few moments of surrender feel exposed. Exposure is not your enemy when it happens in my presence. Exposure in my presence is how healing starts. And now, my child, I want you to know something tender and important about surrender, because if you miss this, you may become discouraged too quickly. Honest surrender does not always mean you will feel instantly powerful the moment you do it. Sometimes surrender feels like weakness before it feels like freedom. Sometimes it feels like shaking hands, tears you did not expect, silence you do not know how to fill, or a strange emptiness where an old habit used to live. Do not be alarmed by that. Stay with me through it. Let the process breathe. Let your heart adjust. Let your soul relearn what it feels like to lean on me instead of the old coping mechanism, the old attachment, the old resentment, the old pattern of self-protection. That relearning takes tenderness. It takes intention. It takes time lived differently. But it begins with one thing: your honest yes. And that yes matters more than you know. Heaven moves toward honesty. Grace rushes toward sincerity. I can work with the heart that says, I do not know how to do this perfectly, but I do not want to stay where I am. That heart is open. That heart is teachable. That heart is ready. So if that is where you are, do not despise it. Do not tell yourself your surrender is too messy to count. I count the trembling yes. I honor the quiet decision. I see the effort it takes for you to stop hiding and start handing things over. I know what it costs when the very thing I am asking you to release once felt like comfort, identity, protection, or control. I know it. And because I know it, I am not asking you to do this alone. I am asking you to do it with me. Invite me into the moment. Do not merely drop the thing and then try to stand in your own strength. Stay close. When the urge comes back, call on me. When the old thought pattern rises, answer it with truth. When the loneliness hits, come sit with me instead of running to what numbs you. When the fear tells you that you cannot live without the old pattern, challenge it and stay with me anyway. This is where surrender becomes relationship, not just a one-time event. This is where your healing becomes lived, not just desired. And I want that for you. I want more than a moving moment. I want a change in direction. I want more than tears. I want transformation. I want more than temporary resolve. I want rooted freedom. So listen carefully now and do this with intention. Open your hands in your heart. Name what you are surrendering. Be specific. Be honest. Be unguarded. Then ask me to help you walk the next step, not just feel this one. Say to me, I give you this, and I do not want to take it back. Say to me, teach me how to live without what hath been weakening me. Say to me, I want the real thing, even if it costs me my old comfort. That prayer matters. That invitation matters. That surrender matters. Let it be real today. Let it be practical today. Let it reach into your actual habits, your actual choices, your actual relationships, your actual inner life. Because the honest surrender I want from you is not meant to make you smaller. It is meant to finally make you free. My beloved child, now I need to speak to you with loving clarity about something you already sense deep inside, because there are things in your life that cannot keep staying where they are if you truly want peace to return. I am not talking about vague ideas. I am not talking about some distant spiritual concept you can admire and then postpone. I am speaking about real things, close things, familiar things, the very things you already know I have been touching in your heart for longer than you want to admit. You have felt the tension. You have felt the check in your spirit. You have felt that quiet ache after certain choices, certain conversation, certain habits, certain returns to places you know leave you emptier than before. And I need you to stop asking me for another sign about what I have already made clear. Stop circling what you already recognize. Stop calling it uncertainty when the truth is that you do not want to let go. Be honest with yourself now. There are attachments you keep defending because they comfort your flesh while draining your spirit. There are patterns you keep revisiting because they feel familiar, even though they leave you scattered, ashamed, or inwardly heavy afterward. There are thoughts you entertain that darken your peace. There are doors you keep reopening that I have already shown you are not safe for your heart. There are emotional bargains you keep making with things that promise relief but quietly take more than they give. And because I love you, I am telling you plainly, release them now. Do not delay this. Do not soften this. Do not reduce this to inspiration. Make it practical. Make it immediate. If there is a conversation that keeps pulling you into confusion, step away from it. If there is a connection that keeps feeding compromise, loosen your grip and walk back toward clarity. If there is content you keep consuming that leaves your spirit restless, shut it off. If there is a secret pattern you keep returning to when you feel lonely, anxious, ashamed, or overwhelmed, bring it into the light and break your agreement with it. If there is resentment you have been feeding because it feels justified, lay it down before it poisons more of your inner life than you realize. If there is a habit you keep calling harmless even though it steals your focus, your tenderness, your discipline, or your peace, stop protecting it. I am not asking you to be cruel to yourself. I am asking you to be honest enough to stop nursing what is weakening you. That is not harshness. That is wisdom. That is mercy. Think of it this way, my child. When poison is in the cup, the loving thing is not to decorate the cup or analyze the poison for another month. The loving thing is to put the cup down. When fire starts in the walls, the loving thing is not to admire how long the house has stood. The loving thing is to act before more is lost. When rot begins at the root, the loving thing is not to keep watering the decay and hoping the fruit will somehow improve. The loving thing is to cut away what is diseased so life can return. That is what I am saying to you now. I am not punishing you by asking you to release what has become familiar. I am rescuing you from the cost of keeping it. Some of the things you are asking me to heal will only begin to shift when you stop reintroducing the very source of the wound. Some of the peace you are praying for is waiting on the other side of obedience you have delayed. Some of the clarity you want is not being withheld from you. It is being clouded by what you keep refusing to release. So stop waiting for the emotional feeling of readiness. You may not feel ready. Let that be true and obey anyway. You may feel exposed. Let that be true and move anyway. You may feel the tug of what is familiar. Let that be true and still choose what is holy. This is where freedom begins. Not when the temptation disappears, but when you decide that your love for me and your desire for peace matter more than the comfort of staying bound. So I am inviting you right now into a sacred act of courage. Name what must go. Do not call it something. Name it. Be specific. Bring it before me without excuses. Then release it. Not symbolically. Julie. If you need to delete, delete. If you need to block, block. If you need to leave, leave. If you need to confess, confess. If you need to throw it away, throw it away. If you need to draw a boundary, draw it. Do not admire the truth while still protecting the chain. Let this moment become a cut, a clean cut, not because I delight in loss, but because I delight in your freedom. And I want to take you deeper into why I am asking for immediate release, because I know part of you still wants to negotiate, still wants to keep a little door cracked open, still wants to leave yourself a backup plan in case obedience feels too uncomfortable later. My child, that little door is costing you more than you realize. You have thought of it as harmless flexibility, but spiritually it has become an escape hatch back into the very places that keep exhausting you. That is why partial surrender has left you frustrated so many times. You keep offering me the part that feels manageable while quietly reserving the thing that still has your emotional loyalty. Then when peace does not fully return, you wonder why you still feel divided. But division is exhausting by nature. A heart cannot rest while it is trying to belong in two directions. You cannot keep one hand on freedom and one hand on the chain and expect your soul not to ache. That ache you feel is not random. It is the strain of divided loyalty. It is the friction between what your spirit longs for and what your habits keep feeding. And I say this tenderly, but I need you to hear it with force. Stop negotiating with what I have already called you out of. Stop making room for what keeps stealing from you. Stop leaving a side entrance for the thing you know I'm asking you to close. A crack becomes a corridor if it is left open long enough. A tolerated weakness becomes a stronghold when it is repeatedly protected. A private compromise becomes a public consequence if it keeps growing in the dark. That is why I am asking you to act decisively. Not because I want to make your life smaller, but because I want your life clean again, clear again, whole again. And yes, I know release can feel like loss in the first moments. I know your flesh may call it deprivation. I know your emotions may panic because what you are releasing once felt like comfort, relief, connection, or control. But listen carefully. Not everything that comforts you is caring for you. Not everything that feels close is good for you. Not everything that gives relief is bringing healing. Some things only soothe a symptom while deepening the wound. Some things feel warm in the moment and leave you colder afterward. Some things feel like shelter and are actually cages with soft walls. I need you to let that truth wake you up. You do not need a prettier prison. You need an exit. You do not need a more spiritual excuse for the same compromise. You need a clean break. You do not need another cycle of conviction, emotion, temporary resolve, and quiet return. You need a decision. So make one with me now. Sit here and let me search you. Ask me, what am I still protecting that is draining me? Then stay quiet long enough to hear the answer. Do not rush past the discomfort. Do not distract yourself the moment the truth becomes clear. Today, let the conviction sharpen. Let the light expose. Let the naming happen. And when it does, do not argue with me. Do not defend the pattern. Do not explain why it has been hard. I already know why it has been hard. I know what the habit has been doing for you emotionally. I know what the attachment has been helping you avoid. I know what the resentment has been disguising. I know what the fantasy hath been medicating. I know what the relationship has been feeding. That is why I am not asking you to explain it to me. I am asking you to release it to me. Bring me the whole thing. The comfort, the fear, the dependency, the memories attached to it, the identity you built around it, the excuses, the hidden grief, the false sense of control, all of it. Hand it over. Then make the practical move that seals your surrender. That matters. Because surrender that never touches your actual choices often remains sentimental instead of transformative. Let this touch your choices. Let it touch your routines. Let it touch your access points. Let it touch the things you keep around just in case. If it needs to go, let it go. If it needs to be cut off, cut it off. If it needs distance, create distance. If it needs truth, speak truth. If it needs light, bring light. This is how chains weaken. This is how cycles break. This is how peace begins to return to the rooms of your heart that have been too crowded for too long. And now, my child, I want you to hear the promise hidden inside this command, because I am not asking you to release these things simply so you can feel empty. I am asking you to release what is draining you so I can fill what has been starved. That is the part many people forget. They fear the letting go because they focus only on the hand opening and not on what I am ready to place in it. But I do not remove without purpose. I do not ask you to drop what is poisoning you so I can leave you hollow. I clear space so I can bring peace. I cut off what is decaying so life can flow again. I pull you out of muddy places because I want your feet on solid ground. I close certain doors because I want you to stop sleeping beside danger. I ask you to let go because I know what it is costing your mind, your heart, your spiritual clarity, your discipline, your joy, your future, and your ability to hear me without static. So when you obey me here, do not stand in the first wave of discomfort and assume you made the wrong choice. Stay with me long enough to feel the second wave, the cleaner air, the deeper breath, the strange but holy relief that comes when your spirit realizes the chain is no longer around its neck. It may take a moment. It may take a day. It may take repeated acts of obedience when old cravings return. But stay with me through that. Do not romanticize what you released. Do not rewrite the memory of the thing as though it was kinder than it was. You not call the cage cozy just because it was familiar. Remember what it cost you. Remember the fog. Remember the heaviness. Remember the way it stole from your tenderness. Remember how it kept interrupting your peace. Let truth keep you free. And when the temptation to return whispers to you, answer it. Do not merely resist silently. Speak back with clarity. Tell yourself, I know what it costs. Tell your heart, I am not going back to what weakened me. Tell the lie, you are not my comfort anymore. Then come to me again. Invite me into the craving, the ache, the empty moment where the old habit once sat. That is where real freedom grows. Not in pretending you are beyond the struggle, but in repeatedly choosing truth when the old path calls your name. My beloved, I want you to feel how serious and how hopeful this moment is at the same time. This is not merely about what you lose. This is about what you recover. You recover clarity. You recover sensitivity. You recover your inner steadiness. You recover your ability to breathe without the hidden weight. You recover the softness that compromise kept hardening. You recover the quiet confidence that comes when your private life and your deepest prayers stop fighting each other. That is worth the cost. That is worth the discomfort. That is worth the clean break. So do not wait. Do not soften the edge of this moment. Do not say you will think about it. Decide. Release. Move. Obey. Then stay close to me as I fill the space with something far better than what you were afraid to lose. My child, as you release what has been draining you, do not forget that I am also calling you to pour into what gives life. What you let go creates space, not emptiness, but holy opportunity. And one of those opportunities is to carry my word further. When you give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are planting seeds in fertile ground, seeds that will rise as truth in someone else's darkness. I have spoken, give, and it will be given to you, and I do not speak empty promises. Your obedience here is not loss, it is multiplication, a harvest you may never fully see but will surely be part of. This is your moment to replace what drained you with something eternal. Do not cling to what I ask you to release while ignoring what I am asking you to sow. Step forward, give now, and let your freedom become someone else's breakthrough. My beloved child, I want you to see what begins to happen the moment you stop resisting me and truly respond, because I do not want you obeying from fear alone when there is so much beauty waiting on the other side of your yes. So much of what I have said to you hath been urgent because the danger of delay is real, but I also need you to know this is not only about what you are leaving behind. It is also about what awakens when you finally turn toward me without holding part of yourself back. Something begins to breathe again inside you. It may not be loud at first. It may not look dramatic on the outside in the first hour, but inwardly, something shifts. The tightness begins to loosen. The noise starts losing some of its power. The part of you that has been stretched thin by divided living starts to feel the first hint of relief. It is like opening a window in a room that has been shut too long. It is like air moving through a place that had grown stale. It is like stepping out of a crowded, smoky space into the cool clarity of morning. You may still have responsibilities. You may still have consequences to walk through. You may still feel tender, exposed, or in process. But there is a difference now. You are no longer carrying everything from a place of resistance. You are no longer forcing yourself through life while quietly fighting my invitation in the background. You are no longer asking for peace while protecting the thing that steals it. That matters more than you know. The first gift that often returns is clarity. When you stop feeding what clouds your spirit, your discernment begins to sharpen again. The things that once felt confusing start becoming easier to see. You notice what drains you faster. You notice what nourishes you more clearly. You notice how certain patterns were keeping your mind crowded and your heart guarded. You begin to see the difference between true peace and temporary relief. You begin to recognize my voice more distinctly because there is less static around your inner hearing. That is a miracle in itself. And then, slowly and deeply, peace begins to settle. Not the fragile kind that depends on everything around you going smoothly. Not the thin kind that disappears the moment life gets loud. I am talking about the deeper kind, the kind that can sit under your circumstances like a steady river under the surface of the ground. That peace comes because your soul is no longer fighting against itself. That peace comes because truth and action have finally met. That peace comes because your private life has begun to align with the cry of your spirit. And I want you to understand how precious that is. Many people pray for peace while quietly building their lives in ways that keep disturbing it. But when you finally respond, when you let your choices agree with the truth I have been speaking, your inner world becomes more open to what I have always wanted to pour in. You start sleeping differently. You start breathing differently. You start noticing that the low hum of tension is not as constant as it once was. You begin to feel moments of stillness that do not terrify you. You begin to sense that you do not have to keep outrunning yourself. You begin to discover that closeness with me is not a burden, but a shelter. That is part of what changes. And there is more. When you respond, shame begins to lose its throne. Shame survives in secrecy, in avoidance, in repeated compromise, in the cycle of conviction without surrender. But when you step into honesty and obedience, shame starts losing its oxygen. It may still whisper for a while, but it no longer has the same authority. Why? Because you are no longer agreeing with the lie that hiding is your only option. You are no longer living as though you must manage your image while your soul quietly aches. You are stepping into the light, and in the light, shame begins to shrink. That is why I keep inviting you to real response, not just emotion. Because emotion may move you for a moment, but response changes the atmosphere of your life. Response opens the door for grace to begin working in practical, lived ways. So if you are wondering what happens when you finally respond, hear me clearly. The fog starts to lift. The room starts to breathe. The chain starts to loosen. And the parts of you that thought they had to stay in survival mode begin to remember what safety feels like again. And because I want you to truly understand the depth of what changes, I need you to see that your response does not only bring relief, it restores identity. For a long time, some of you have been living as though you are defined by the thing you keep struggling with, the thing you keep returning to, the pain you keep carrying, or the compromise you keep hiding. You have started narrating your life around your weakness. You have let the battle become bigger in your mind than the truth of who you are in me. But when you finally respond to my voice, something powerful happens. You stop living like an orphan managing scraps, and you begin remembering that you are my child. That shift changes everything. It changes how you interpret your own thoughts, and changes how you approach temptation. It changes how you handle failure if you stumble. It changes how you view the future. It changes the emotional posture of your life. An orphan mindset says, I have to protect myself, manage myself, cope for myself, hide what is wrong, and survive however I can. But the heart of a child says, I can come to my Father. I can tell the truth. I can be corrected and still be loved. I can be weak and still be held. I can obey without needing to understand every detail because I trust the one leading me. That is the identity shift I want for you. I do not merely want your behavior interrupted. I want your belonging restored. I want you to stop approaching your spiritual life like a nervous outsider trying to earn closeness. I want you to start living like someone who is already deeply known, deeply loved, and actively led. When that settles into you, even your battles begin to look different. You stop treating temptation like proof that you are broken beyond repair. You begin seeing it as a place where you can choose alignment because you know who you belong to. You stop treating moments of weakness like final verdicts. You begin treating them as invitations to return quickly, honestly, and without the long detour of shame. You stop seeing correction as humiliation. You begin seeing it as direction. You stop hearing my voice as a threat. You begin hearing it as home. My child, that kind of restoration reaches far beyond one decision. It starts affecting how you carry your day. It changes the way you listen in conversations. It changes the way you respond to stress. It changes the way you hold boundaries. It changes the way you love people because you are no longer loving from depletion alone. It changes the way you walk into opportunities because you are not dragging the same secret weight behind you. It changes the way you pray because you are no longer trying to hide from the very one you are speaking to. This is why your response matters so much. It is not just about stopping a bad pattern. It is about restoring the atmosphere of your inner life. It is about reclaiming your clarity, your softness, your discernment, your steadiness, your courage, and your awareness of my nearness. So do not underestimate what a real yes can do. Do not reduce obedience to a rule. Obedience in love becomes a doorway. Obedience in truth becomes a release. Obedience in surrender becomes the place where what felt stuck begins to move again. That is what I want you to see. I am not simply asking you to lose something. I am inviting you to recover something holy that you have been missing. And now, my beloved, let me show you what this response begins to do in the days that follow, because I do not want you expecting a single emotional moment and then feeling confused when the deeper work unfolds over time. When you finally respond, your life begins to reorient. That is the word I want you to hold. Reorient. It is like a compass being reset after it has been thrown off course. It is like a river that had been diverted by debris finally finding its natural channel again. It is like a house where the windows are opened and the stale air is pushed out by a fresh wind. That does not mean every issue vanishes overnight, but it does mean the direction changes. And direction matters. Direction can change a destiny long before the destination is visible. Once your direction changes, I begin working in ways you will notice if you stay close. You start catching yourself sooner when old thought patterns rise. You start feeling more conviction before compromise becomes action. You start recognizing the difference between my peace and counterfeit comfort more quickly. You start seeing how certain people, places, rhythms, and inputs affect your spirit. You begin making decisions with more clarity because you are not as tangled inside. You begin noticing how much strength was being wasted on internal conflict, and that recovered strength becomes available for deeper prayer, wiser choices, healthier boundaries, and more grounded love. You may even find that joy returns in quiet, surprising ways. Not the noisy kind that has to prove itself, but the clean kind, the kind that slips in during stillness, during prayer, during a walk, during a moment where you realize you are not as haunted by the old thing as you were before. Those moments matter. Notice them. Thank me for them. Stay attentive to them. They are signs of restoration taking root. And when the old pull tries to return, Do not panic and assume nothing changed. Instead, remember what I told you. Direction matters. You are no longer the person agreeing with the chain. You are the person walking out of it. So when the old voice calls, answer from your new direction. Say, that is not where I live now. Say, I know what that costs. Say, I choose the peace that is growing in me. Then come closer to me again. Keep returning. Keep responding. Keep letting your choices reinforce the truth your spirit already knows. This is how the new life strengthens. This is how freedom becomes familiar instead of strange. This is how your inner world becomes less crowded, less chaotic, less divided. This is how your relationship with me becomes more natural, more honest, more steady, less driven by panic and more grounded in trust. My child, this is what changes when you finally respond. The atmosphere changes. The direction changes. The identity changes. The way you carry your life changes. And as those things change, doors open inside you that have been shut for a long time. Hope feels safer again. Rest feels possible again. Closeness feels desirable again. Truth feels like a gift again. That is why I keep calling you. That is why I keep asking you not to delay. Not because I want something from you in a cold sense, but because I want this for you. I want your soul breathing again. I want your mind clear. I want your heart softer. I want your steps steadier. I want your life aligned. So respond. Not halfway. Not eventually. Fully. Honestly. Practically. Let this moment become the hinge on which the next season turns. Let your yes become real enough to reshape what comes next. My beloved child, now I need you to stay with me just a little longer, because this is the place where everything I have been saying gathers into one final, living invitation, and I do not want you to let it pass like so many moments in the past that stirred your heart for a little while and then disappeared under the weight of your day. This is where I ask you, very personally and very directly, not to move on too quickly. Do not rush to the next thing. Do not let your mind immediately start planning, scrolling, rationalizing, or softening what I have placed before you. Stay here. Sit still. Breathe slowly. Let the weight of this remain on you long enough to become a decision instead of just a feeling. Because that is what this moment is meant to become. A decision. A line in the sand. A turning point. A doorway. You have had many moments where you felt something deep inside and told yourself you would return to it later. You have had moments where truth touched you, but your routines were louder. You have had moments where conviction stirred, but comfort won. You have had moments where your heart knew exactly what I was asking, yet you kept a little distance, hoping the urgency would fade enough that you could go back to normal. But I need you to hear me clearly now. What you have been calling normal has been draining you. It hath been thinning your peace, clouding your clarity, weakening your spiritual sensitivity, and teaching you to live below what I have been trying to bring you into. I am not saying that to condemn you. I am saying it because I want this to be the moment where you stop making peace with what is quietly stealing from you. So do not just admire the truth. Respond to it. Do not simply agree with me in your mind while leaving your actual choices untouched. Let this become practical. Let this become immediate. Let this reach into your real life before the hour ends. If you need to pray, pray now. If you need to confess, confess now. If you need to cut something off, do it now. If you need to walk away from a pattern, decide now. If you need to sit in silence and tell me the full truth without editing yourself, do it now. Do not make this another someday moment. Do not turn holy urgency into future intention. That is one of the enemy's oldest tricks, and I do not want you falling for it again. He does not always need to convince you to reject what I am saying. He only needs to convince you to postpone it until the fire cools, until the day gets busy, until the noise returns, until your old habits feel easier than the truth. So I am telling you with love, close that door. Refuse the delay. Refuse the drift. Refuse the excuse that says you will think about it later. This is not the time to think around the truth. This is the time to move with it. You have felt me drawing you. You have felt me exposing what needs to change. You have felt me naming what has been hidden, what has been tolerated, what has been excused, what has been defended, what has been quietly poisoning the atmosphere of your inner life. Do not let all of that end in nothing more than temporary emotion. Let it end in surrender. Let it end in a clean break. Let it end in a yes that costs you something, because the yes that costs you something is often the yes that changes everything. I know part of you may still feel hesitant. I know part of you may still be afraid of what happens after you obey. I know part of you may still be asking, what if I fail again? What if I start and then fall back? What if I cannot maintain what I feel right now? My child, do not let those questions stop you. They are real questions, but they are not worthy of becoming your master. You do not need to have the whole path mapped out before you take the next faithful step. You do not need guarantees about tomorrow before you obey today. You do not need to know every detail of how the healing will unfold before you let me begin. What I need from you now is not mastery. What I need is willingness. What I need is honesty. What I need is a real response. Come as you are. Come with trembling if you must. Come with tears if they rise. Come with fear if it is still present. Come with unfinished understanding. But come. Move toward me. Open the hand. Speak the truth. Make the choice. Let this be the moment where you stop standing in the doorway of change and finally step through it. Let this be the moment where you stop watching your own life from a distance and start living in alignment with what your spirit has been crying out for. I am not asking you to perform. I am asking you to answer. Answer me now. And because I love you too much to leave this in the realm of emotion, I want to guide you into what this response should look like before you move on from these words. Right now, do not just nod internally and say, "That was powerful." That is not enough. Power that is admired but not acted on becomes another memory instead of a transformation. So I want you to do something concrete. Stop for a moment and ask yourself, what is the one thing I already know I need to do? Not 5 things. Not a vague future plan. One thing. One clear act of obedience. One real response. It may be a call you need to end. It may be a message you need to stop answering. It may be a habit you need to interrupt tonight. It may be a private sin you need to confess. It may be a boundary you need to set. It may be a place you need to stop visiting in your mind or in your routine. It may be a secret you need to bring into safe light. It may be a prayer you have avoided because speaking it would make this all too real. Whatever it is, choose it. Name it. Then act on it before the comfort of delay creeps back in. I am telling you this because clarity has already been given. You are not waiting on me to speak more. I have spoken. The next movement is yours. And I want you to understand something beautiful. Your next step does not need to be spectacular to be sacred. Some of the holiest moments in your life will look quiet from the outside. A deleted number. A blocked path. A kneeling prayer. A whispered confession. A journal page full of truth. A decision to stop revisiting what keeps harming you. A boundary set with trembling hands. a choice to sit in silence instead of feeding the old pattern. These moments may look small to the world, but heaven understands their weight. They are the hinges on which seasons turn. They are the quiet cuts that stop the bleeding. They are the first steps out of fog. They are the moments where a soul stops drifting and starts coming home. So do not underestimate your next act of obedience. Honor it. Protect it. Carry it through. And once you act, stay close to me. Do not make your response a single moment, and then try to finish the rest in your own strength. Invite me into the after. Invite me into the silence after the choice, into the discomfort after the release, into the temptation that may try to return, into the empty space where the old thing once lived. Fill that space with me. Sit with me. Talk to me. Let me reteach your heart what peace feels like when it is not manufactured by control, distraction, or compromise. This is how the response becomes rooted instead of temporary. This is how a moment becomes a movement. This is how conviction becomes transformation instead of just another memory. So I am asking you again, not as a threat, but as a father who loves you enough to be clear, do not leave this unchanged. Do not walk away with admiration but no action. Do not carry these words into the rest of your day like a beautiful thought and nothing more. Turn them into obedience. Turn them into a boundary. Turn them into a prayer. Turn them into a confession. Turn them into a decision. Turn them into a clean break. Turn them into a return. And before I close this with you, let me speak to the deepest part of your heart one last time, because I know what you may still be feeling under all of this. You may feel exposed. You may feel stirred. You may feel hopeful and afraid at the same time. You may feel the grief of what you know you must release. You may feel the ache of realizing how long you have carried certain things. You may even feel sorrow over the time you lost while you kept postponing what needed to change. But do not stay there. Do not let regret become the final voice in this moment. Regret can show you where you drifted, but it cannot heal you. I can. So bring me the regret too. Bring me the wasted time. Bring me the years you feel slipped away. Bring me the patterns you are tired of revisiting. Bring me the discouragement that says, why would this time be any different? Bring me the fear that says, what if I cannot keep this up? Bring me the shame that says, you should have done this long ago. Lay all of it down. Lay it all down. On tomorrow. Not after you feel stronger. Now. Because if you keep staring at what you lost, you may miss the mercy standing in front of you. And I am mercy standing in front of you right now. I am the open door you thought had closed. I am the hand still extended after all the hesitation. I am the voice still speaking after all the delay. I am the Father still inviting after all the wondering. That matters. Let that melt the hardness in you. Let that quiet the fear. Let that silence the lie that says it is too late. If you are hearing me, it is not too late to respond. If your heart still feels this, it is not too late to turn. If you still know my voice enough to feel the weight of it, it is not too late to come closer. So come now. Come honestly. Come fully. Come without pretending. Come without excuses. Come without your polished spiritual mask. Come with the real heart, the tired heart, the wounded heart, the hungry heart, the conflicted heart, the heart that still wants me more than it knows how to say. I will meet you there. I will not shame your return. I will not humiliate your weakness. I will not mock your trembling yes. I will receive it. I will strengthen it. I will build on it. I will breathe on it. I will take what you place in my hands and begin the work that only I can do. So this is my final plea before you move on. Do not move on without moving toward me. Do not let this become another passing ache. Let it become the place where you finally stop delaying. Let it become the moment where you say, I am done running. I am done negotiating. I am done pretending. I choose truth. I choose surrender. I choose peace. I choose you. If you say that with honesty, even quietly, even through tears, even with a trembling voice, heaven hears it. I hear it. And from that moment on, everything begins to shift. Say here for one more breath. Then answer me. My child, you stand at the edge of decision. Do not let this moment fade into memory without becoming movement. What I have spoken to you carries weight not only for your life, but for many others who are still waiting for this same awakening. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you turn this moment into a multiplying fire, a voice that continues long after this video ends. I have said, cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days, and I am calling you to trust me in this. This is not a casual action. It is a divine alignment, a yes that echoes beyond what you see. If your heart is stirred, it is because I am asking you personally to respond. Do not walk away unchanged. Give now, act now, and let this moment become the turning point not only for you, but for every soul your obedience will reach. Before you go, I want you to seal this moment with your own words. If this message found you at the exact time you needed it, then do not stay silent. Go down into the comments and declare, I will not delay anymore. I choose you now. Let that be your line in the sand, your public surrender, your holy yes before heaven and before your own soul. And if this was for you, type it like you mean it, because some breakthroughs begin the moment you stop hiding and finally speak your obedience out loud. Comment it now, before the old version of you tries to come back. And when you make that declaration, do not rush away from it. Sit with it for a moment. Let those words settle deep within your spirit, because every true act of obedience begins with a willingness to stop and listen. You have spent so much time responding to the voices around you that you may have forgotten what it feels like to hear mine without interruption. Yet that is why I brought you here, not merely to inspire you for a moment, but to draw you into a conversation your heart has been longing for. Before you take another step, before the noise of life rushes back in and competes for your attention, give me this moment completely. Quiet everything else and hear what I have been trying to tell you all along. My child, stop for a moment. Put down whatever you are carrying. Take a deep, slow breath right now. Listen to my voice. You live in a loud, chaotic world. Every single day, your mind is flooded with endless noise. You hear the constant demands of your job ringing in your ears. You feel the heavy, crushing pressure to perform, to provide, and to keep everyone around you happy. I see the unspoken tensions in your family that you try so hard to navigate behind closed doors. I know how utterly exhausted you are from scrolling through endless distractions on your phone, trying to numb the pain of feeling overlooked. But right here, right now, I am cutting through all of that noise. I am speaking directly to your heart. Do you feel that quiet tug in your chest? That gentle pull? That is not an accident. That is me. I am whispering to you in the quiet pause before the storm breaks. I am standing with you right in the middle of your messy reality. I am telling you this because the window of my grace is wide open for you today. You cannot wait for a better time. You cannot keep putting me off until you have your life perfectly together. I do not want the flawless version of you. I want you right now exactly as you are, with all your flaws, all your fears, and all your failures. Today is the appointed time for your salvation. This very moment is the precise time for your rescue. Stop telling yourself that you will turn to me someday. Someday is a liar. Someday is a thief. Someday steals your peace and keeps you trapped in the heavy chains of anxiety. I am offering you absolute freedom today. I am giving you perfect peace right now. Step into this moment. Open your hands and accept this divine gift. You might be wondering why you are hearing these words right now. You might think you simply stumbled upon this message by chance. My beloved, there are absolutely no accidents in my kingdom. I carefully chose this specific moment to speak directly to your soul. I saw you last night when you could not sleep. I watched you staring into the dark, feeling overwhelmed by the terrifying fear of the future. I felt the tight knot in your stomach when you worried about your bills, your health, and the people you love. I saw you feeling completely invisible, wondering if anyone truly sees the real you. I see you. I see the real you. I have orchestrated this very second so you would hear my voice and know with absolute certainty that you are never alone. Feel the spiritual weight of this moment. Pay close attention to that deep, persistent longing inside of you. You have been tirelessly searching for something to fill the empty space in your life. You have tried to fill it with success, with relationships, with money, and with temporary pleasures. But none of it works, does it? That stubborn ache in your soul is a spiritual hunger. It is my heavy, loving hand gently tugging at your heart, pulling you back home to me. Stop fighting it. Yield to it right now. Let go of the heavy burdens you were never created to carry. Give me your job pressure. Hand me your family tensions. Surrender your fear of the unknown to my capable hands. Break the cycle of someday right now. Do not walk away from this encounter and go back to your old ways. I am commanding you to wake up. I am warmly inviting you into a life of massive peace, clear purpose, and unshakable strength. Look honestly at your life. Look at your constant, exhausting striving. You are running on an empty tank. Stop running. Stand still. Come to me. I am standing right in front of you with my arms open wide. Say yes to me today. Let me carefully undo the painful knots of worry in your stomach. Let me permanently wash away the heavy guilt you carry on your shoulders. I promise you, if you take one bold step toward me today, I will cover you with a love so fierce it will change your life forever. Answer my call. Before it is too late, let me in. My child, look at yourself in the mirror right now. What do you see? I know what you see, because I hear the harsh words you whisper to yourself. I see how you look at your reflection and immediately focus on the flaws, the failures, and the things you wish you could change. You carry around a heavy backpack full of labels that the world has carelessly slapped onto you. Your boss called you replaceable. A past relationship made you feel unwanted and unlovable. Your own mind tells you that you are simply not good enough, not smart enough, and not far enough along in life. Stop doing this. I command you to drop that heavy bag of lies right now. Let go of every single label you have allowed others to pin on your chest. They do not know you. I know you. I created you. Listen to me very carefully. I am your creator, and I do not make mistakes. When I look at you, I do not see a failure. I see my perfect design. I see the incredible masterpiece I formed with my own hands. I want you to feel the air filling your lungs right now. Take a breath. Let it out. That breath is not an accident. I placed that specific breath in your body because I have a very specific purpose for your life today. There is massive intentionality behind every single moment you are alive. You are not just wandering through life by chance. I carefully planned your existence before the foundations of the earth were ever laid. I knew exactly what you would look like, how you would laugh, and how your heart would beat. You need to remember how much you are truly worth. The world treats you like you are cheap, like you are something that can be easily discarded when you no longer serve a purpose. Do not ever believe that lie. I bought you with the heaviest, most painful price ever paid. I gave everything to make sure you could be mine. I did not pay that massive price for someone who is worthless. I paid it because your value to me is absolute and infinite. I am calling you to reclaim your royal heritage today. You are not a slave to the grinding routine of this world. You are a child of the kingdom of heaven. You carry my royal bloodline in your spirit. Stand up straight. Lift your head. Walk into your day holding the truth of my unwavering, fatherly affection for you. I do not love you because of what you can produce. I do not love you because of how much money is in your bank account or how well you perform at your job. I love you simply because you are mine. My love for you is fiercely protective and endlessly warm. It is the steady ground beneath your feet when everything else feels like shifting sand. Step into your true identity today. Stop apologizing for who you are. Start living as the deeply cherished, highly valued, and completely loved creation that I made you to be. My precious one, I need you to pause and look honestly at how you are spending your days. I watch you wake up every morning, rushing out of bed the second the alarm violently rings. I see you immediately grabbing your phone, letting the cold glow of a screen dictate your mood before you even say a word to me. You are constantly running, hustling, and exhausted. You work incredibly long hours, trying to climb a ladder that leads to absolutely nowhere. You are chasing the next paycheck, the next promotion, the next little hit of approval from people who do not truly care about your soul. I am asking you to stop. Put the phone down. Turn off the noise. Look up and see what is actually happening to you. The enemy is using the crushing weight of busyness to slowly pull you away from me. He does not need to tempt you with obvious dramatic evils. All he has to do is keep you overwhelmingly busy, constantly stressed, and endlessly distracted. You have allowed modern idols to take my rightful place in your heart. These are not statues of gold. They are your schedules, your career ambitions, your social media feeds, and your desperate desire to be seen as successful by a broken society. I want you to recognize the massive emptiness of chasing these temporary treasures. You work so hard to buy things that will eventually rust, break, and be thrown away. You stress over money that can disappear in a single day. Why do you keep trying to satisfy your eternal soul with temporary, fading pleasures? It is like drinking salt water when you are dying of thirst. It only makes you more desperate, more empty, and more tired. I am the only source of living water. I am the only one who can fill that deep, hollow ache in your chest. I command you to start guarding your eyes and your ears from the constant, toxic clamor of this age. You do not have to consume every piece of angry news. You do not have to engage in every pointless argument online. That noise is a weapon designed to steal your profound peace and drain your vital energy. I invite you to realign your focus right now. Bring your attention back to the things that truly matter, the things that will last forever. Invest your precious time in love, in quiet moments of prayer, and in serving the people right in front of you. Cut the ties to the chaotic rush of the crowd. Give me your attention. Let me quiet the anxious buzzing in your brain. When you stop chasing the wind, you will finally feel the gentle breeze of my spirit guiding you to a place of profound, unshakable rest. Choose me over the noise today. My beloved, come out of hiding. I see you sitting in the dark, wrestling with the heavy, wet blanket of guilt you refuse to take off. I know the secret habits you cannot seem to break. I know the angry words you said yesterday that you instantly regretted. I know the mistakes that keep you awake at night, making your stomach turn in knots. You think that if you hide your face from me, I will not see your shame. But I see it all, and I am not turning away from you. I am leaning closer. I am asking you to stop running from me. Bring me your mess. Bring me your brokenness. Bring me the very things you are most terrified for anyone else to discover. I want to teach you what it actually means to turn toward me with your whole heart. True repentance is not just feeling intensely terrible about yourself. Worldly sorrow is a trap. It just makes you hate yourself and pushes you further into isolated darkness. Godly transformation is entirely different. It is the brave, powerful decision to pivot completely. It is looking honestly at your dirty hands, lifting them up to me, and saying, "Father, I went the wrong way. Help me." That simple, honest admission is the exact moment your healing begins. Finding the courage to admit where you have strayed does not bring my anger. It instantly activates my fierce compassion. Let go of the crushing guilt that is slowly paralyzing your life. You are holding on to a debt that I have already canceled. Why are you choosing to sit inside a dark, cold prison cell when I have already shattered the lock and kicked the door wide open? Walk out. I command you to leave your shame in the dirt where it belongs. Trust in my massive, overwhelming mercy to wash away every single scarlet stain on your record. When I forgive you, I do not hold your past against you. I completely erase it. I wipe the slate perfectly clean. Experience the intense, beautiful liberation that is found in a humble and contrite spirit. When you finally stop trying to justify your mistakes, when you finally stop blaming others and simply surrender your faults to me, the heavy weight vanishes. You will feel a literal lightness in your chest. You will be able to breathe deeply again. Do not let the enemy convince you that you have gone too far or done too much. There is no pit so deep that my love is not deeper still. Reach up. Take my hand. Let me pull you out of the mud and set your feet on solid, clean ground today. My child, stop exhausting yourself trying to earn my love. I watch you constantly striving, operating under the heavy delusion that you have to perform perfectly to stay in my good graces. You treat our relationship like a corporate performance review. You think that if you pray long enough, act good enough, and never make a mistake, then I will finally accept you. That is a heavy, miserable way to live, and it is a total lie. Listen to me. Grace is a free, unmerited gift. You cannot buy it. You cannot earn it. You can only open your empty hands and receive it. I understand your deep frustration when you fail. I see how angry you get at yourself when your human weakness takes over. But I want you to understand a profound truth today. My immense strength is actually made perfect right in the middle of your absolute weakness. When you are strong, capable, and totally self-sufficient, you do not lean on me. You try to carry the world on your own shoulders until you physically and mentally collapse. But when you hit the wall, when you have absolutely 0% left in your tank, that is exactly when my grace rushes in to carry you. Stop fighting your limitations. Let your weakness be the very doorway that my powerful presence walks through. I am the solid, unshakable bridge built between my holy perfection and your messy humanity. You could never jump across that massive canyon on your own. That is why I came to you. That is why the cross exists. Look at the cross and understand that absolutely no sin is too great, no past is too dark, to be covered by its massive shadow. The blood that was shed was enough to pay for it all. Stop living as a condemned prisoner waiting for the executioner. Start living as a fiercely loved, fully redeemed soul. I offer you a fresh, clean start every single morning. My mercies are completely new the moment the sun rises. When you open your eyes tomorrow, the mistakes of yesterday are gone. I invite you to step into this daily renewal. When you feel weary, when the demands of life drain the life out of you, let my spirit breathe fresh wind into your lungs. You do not have to be strong enough for tomorrow. You only need to accept the grace I am giving you for this exact second. Take a deep breath of my grace right now. Let it settle your anxious heart and give you the raw power to keep moving forward. My child, as you bask in the overwhelming ocean of my grace, remember that I have blessed you so that you may become a river of life to a parched and dying world. Before it is too late, I am calling you to let your gratitude take flight and become the very manna that feeds a starving soul. I invite you to partner with my divine mission today by using the super thanks with a PayPal link in the description to sow a seed that will echo into eternity. When you give, you are not merely moving currency. You are lighting a fire of hope in a heart that has forgotten my name. I declare over you that as you sow into this ministry, I will open the floodgates of heaven and multiply your resources until you have no room to contain the blessing. Your generosity is a sweet incense rising to my throne, proving that you value my word above all earthly gold. I command you now, do not withhold the good that is in your hand, but give boldly and watch how I transform your seed into a massive harvest of souls. My child, do not turn away now, for my heart is wide open and I have so much more to pour into your soul. It would deeply grieve me to see you walk away while your transformation is only half complete, leaving the most vital parts of my message unheard. I have carved out this sacred time specifically for us. Please, do not disappoint my longing to finish this work in you. Stay with me, for the next words I speak are the ones your spirit has been crying out for in the dark. My precious one, look at the road stretching out in front of you. You see the massive crowd heading in one direction. It looks easy. It looks fun. It is the wide gate, and the path is paved smooth. It is the path of cutting corners at work to get ahead, the path of gossiping to fit in, the path of chasing money and status at the expense of your soul. I know how tempting it is to just blend in, to stop fighting the current, and to simply do what everybody else is doing. But I am calling you away from that crowd. I am commanding you to choose the difficult, narrow path that leads directly to eternal life. I will not lie to you. This narrow road will feel incredibly lonely at times. When you choose integrity over profit, when you choose purity over momentary pleasure, when you choose to forgive instead of seeking bitter revenge, the world will deeply misunderstand you. Your coworkers might mock you. Your own family might call you foolish. You will face moments where doing the right thing costs you friends, opportunities, and comfort. But I want you to know the massive danger of following the crowd. The wide, easy road is a trap. It leads to absolute emptiness, severe regret, and ultimate destruction. Do not trade your eternal soul for a few moments of cheap, worldly applause. Find your profound peace in the solitude of a holy walk. When people walk away from you because of your devotion to me, realize that they are simply making room for my presence to fill your life more completely. It requires intense, daily discipline to stay on this righteous track. It means waking up and actively choosing my ways over your own selfish desires. It means biting your tongue when you want to yell. It means serving when you want to be served. It is a daily, intentional battle against the current of a broken culture. But hear my unshakable promise to you today. You are never walking this rocky road alone. I am right beside you. I am the shield covering your back. I am the lamp lighting the dark, uneven ground in front of your feet. When the path gets steep and your legs feel like they cannot take another step, lean your full weight on me. I will give you supernatural endurance. I will give you a quiet, steady joy that the world cannot possibly understand and cannot ever take away. Step away from the noise of the crowd. Take my hand. Let us walk this narrow, beautiful road together. My child, wake up and look around you. I want you to truly see the world you are walking through every single day. You watch the relentless news cycle, and I know it fills you with a deep, paralyzing dread. You see the angry division in the streets, the constant economic panic, and the sudden, shocking shifts in the world around you. You feel a heavy, undeniable tension in the air, much like the heavy, quiet pause just before a massive thunderstorm violently breaks. Do not let this reality terrify you. I command you to let it awaken you. I am telling you to live this very day, this exact ordinary Tuesday or busy Thursday, as if it were the quiet eve of my grand return. I am coming back, and I want to find you awake, alert, and fiercely alive in my presence. Look at your daily routine. You spend so much of your precious energy preparing for earthly things. You lay out your clothes for the next workday. You meticulously prep your meals. You constantly check your bank account to prepare for the bills that are due at the end of the month. You are so fiercely dedicated to preparing for a temporary tomorrow. Yet you completely neglect the eternal reality of my approaching glory. I invite you to shift your heavy focus today. I want you to start keeping your spiritual lamp perfectly trimmed and overflowing with the pure oil of faith. What does that oil look like in your modern life? It is the quiet, intentional moment you spend with me in the car before you walk into a stressful office. It is the deep, steady breath you take to choose profound patience when your children are screaming. It is the bold decision to turn off the mindless noise of your television and sit in absolute stillness, listening for my familiar voice. Do you see the unmistakable signs of the times? They are not just dramatic events in the sky. They are the growing coldness in human hearts, the desperate search for meaning in empty places, and the overwhelming anxiety that grips this current generation. I am urgently calling you out of that thick, dark fog. Spiritual readiness is not about perfectly checking off a religious to-do list. It is a vital matter of your beating heart. It is the daily, active shedding of your old, selfish habits. I command you to vigorously cast off the heavy works of darkness. Stop engaging in the bitter gossip at your workplace. Stop hiding your secret, destructive habits behind closed doors. Put on the blazing armor of light today. When you live with this powerful, eternal anticipation, your entire perspective radically shifts. The infuriating traffic jam no longer ruins your day. The sudden, unfair criticism from your boss loses its sharp sting. Why? Because you know with absolute certainty that this broken world is not your final home. You are a royal citizen of a kingdom that cannot ever be shaken. I promise you, an overwhelming, indescribable joy eagerly awaits those who are found actively watching and patiently waiting for me. So lift your heavy head right now. Straighten your tired back. Step into your day not with the exhausted dread of the daily grind, but with the thrilling, electric anticipation of a child waiting for their father to finally come home. My beloved, I need you to open your eyes to the brutal, unseen reality happening all around you. You think your biggest fight today is against your frustrating coworker, your mounting credit card debt, or the physical exhaustion dragging down your bones. You are completely mistaken. You are engaged in a fierce, silent, and highly organized spiritual battle for your eternal destiny. The enemy does not usually attack you with dramatic, move-alike monsters. He attacks you in the quiet, mundane moments of your Tuesday afternoon. He strikes when you are staring at the ceiling at 2 in the morning, aggressively whispering that you are a complete failure, that your marriage is utterly hopeless, and that your future is entirely bleak. I command you to stop taking these vicious attacks lying down. Stop accepting these toxic lies as your reality. You are not a helpless, defenseless victim in this war. I have thoroughly equipped you with supernatural weaponry that possesses the raw power to shatter heavy chains. Pick up the sword of my word right now. When the sudden, suffocating wave of a panic attack hits your chest, you do not just sit there and drown. You aggressively fight back. You open your mouth and declare out loud, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of massive power, deep love, and a sound mind. When the bitter temptation to completely give up on your dreams whispers in your ear, you use my absolute truth to violently cut that lie to pieces. You must urgently raise your heavy shield of faith, especially when the dark storm clouds of doubt forcefully gather. I see you looking at your dwindling bank account, feeling the sheer terror of financial ruin. That is the exact moment the enemy shoots his flaming arrows of panic directly at your mind. Raise your shield. Declare with fierce, unshakable confidence that I am your ultimate provider, and I have never once abandoned the righteous. Recognize these subtle, insidious schemes meant to violently shake your foundation. The enemy uses distraction, exhaustion, and petty arguments with your spouse to slowly drain your spiritual blood. Do not fall for his cheap tricks. Stand incredibly firm in the absolute authority I have given directly to you. You are my child. The very same explosive power that boldly raised Christ from the dead literally resides inside your chest right now. You do not have to cower in the dark corners of your life. You have the total authority to command the suffocating anxiety to leave your home. You have the right to demand that the dark depression loose its heavy grip on your mind. But you will only find this massive victory through relentless prayer and total, absolute surrender to me. Give me your heavy battles. Let me step onto the front lines of your life. When you fully surrender your desperate need for control to me, you will suddenly realize that the greatest victory has already been won on the cross. My precious one, stop deeply drinking from every single well you walk past. You are living in an era of absolute information overload. Every time you unlock your phone, 100 different voices aggressively scream at you, desperately telling you how to live, how to hustle, how to get rich quickly, and how to find supposed happiness. You listen to endless podcasts, you read modern self-help gurus, and you follow flashy influencers who look like they have everything perfectly together. But beneath their polished, shiny surfaces, their advice is incredibly hollow. It is totally empty. It is spiritual junk food that leaves your soul severely malnourished and violently starving for truth. I command you to start actively testing the spirits. Do not naively believe every smooth-talking voice that promises you an easy, pain-free life. You must fiercely ensure that what you are letting into your mind actually aligns with my absolute, unchanging truth. Stop desperately seeking human logic to solve your deep, spiritual problems. The world tells you to endlessly promote yourself, to mercilessly crush your competition, and to unapologetically put your own needs first. My wisdom tells you that the last shall be first, that true leaders are humble servants, and that you must lose your life to actually find it. These two paths are completely opposed. You can't walk down both of them at the same time. I invite you to lean heavily into the quiet, steady guidance of my Holy Spirit. He is the ultimate compass living directly inside of you. Do you know that sudden, uncomfortable feeling in your gut right before you hit send on a deeply angry email? Do you feel that quiet, persistent hesitation before you sign a contract or enter a toxic relationship? That is not your imagination. That is my spirit actively protecting you. You must ruthlessly avoid the dangerous trap of itching ears, the desperate desire to only hear comfortable, easy lies that constantly validate your selfish choices. Truth often severely hurts before it deeply heals. You will only gain this sharp, crystal clear clarity by completely immersing your entire life in my scripture. My word is the solid, immovable rock in a world of rapidly shifting sand. When you saturate your mind with my voice, you will easily spot a counterfeit lie from a mile away. Develop a highly sensitive heart to my incredibly subtle promptings. When I gently whisper for you to give a specific amount of money away, do it instantly. When I silently nudge you to call a lonely friend, pick up the phone right then. As you practice this daily, instant obedience, your spiritual vision will become incredibly sharp, and you will navigate the complex, messy chaos of this world with profound, undeniable divine wisdom. My child, we need to talk about the heavy, toxic poison you are currently drinking. I see the deep, ugly root of bitterness tightly wrapped around your tired heart. I know exactly who hurt you. I saw the cruel coworker who deliberately threw you under the bus. I watched the parent who never once told you they were proud of you. I saw the friend who brutally betrayed your trust, and the partner who simply walked away when things got hard. I know the intense, searing pain they caused you. I am not telling you that what they did was right. It was terribly wrong, and it deeply grieved my heart to watch you suffer. But I am commanding you right now, put the heavy, sharp knife of resentment down. You think your burning anger is somehow punishing them. You think holding onto this massive grudge is protecting you from getting hurt again. But it is only slowly, painfully killing you from the inside out. It makes your jaw tight. It steals your sleep. It turns your natural joy into cold, hard cynicism. I am asking you to completely release the heavy debt of those who have caused you such immense pain. You have to understand that your own profound freedom is intimately tied to your willingness to show mercy. When you tightly clench your fists to hold on to your precious right to hate them, you cannot open your hands to receive the massive peace I am trying to hand you. I deeply understand how utterly impossible this feels. You cannot do it in your own human strength. But I am not asking you to rely on yourself. I am asking you to look directly at the blood-stained cross. Look at me, hanging there in agonizing pain, looking down at the very people who mockingly drove the thick nails into my wrists, and saying, "Father, forgive them." If I can pour out that kind of massive, earth-shaking mercy on those who murdered me, I can absolutely give you the supernatural strength to forgive the person who broke your heart. Let the profound, lasting healing begin this very second. Stop waiting for an apology that may never, ever come. You do not need their fragile remorse to secure your total freedom. You only need my power. I command you to actively model the radical love of the cross in your daily, normal interactions. When the sharp memory of their betrayal violently hits you again tomorrow, forcefully out loud say, "I completely forgive them in the mighty name of Jesus, and I release them to you, God." By doing this, you are not just healing your own broken heart. You are violently breaking the heavy, dark chains of generational resentment today. You are stopping the toxic cycle of pain so it does not brutally infect your children and your grandchildren. Let it end with you today. Now that I have unshackled your heart from the heavy chains of bitterness, I am inviting you to use your newfound freedom to set another captive free. I have told you this before it is too late. The world is drowning in resentment, and your support is the lifeline that carries my message of reconciliation to the brokenhearted. I am calling you to become a pillar of this mission through a monthly membership or a one-time gift, ensuring that my light never flickers out in the digital wilderness. Just as I have poured out my spirit upon you, I ask you to pour out a portion of what I have entrusted to you to sustain this holy work. I promise you that the measure you use to give will be the same measure I use to pour back into your life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Your gift today is a prophetic act that declares my kingdom is expanding through your very hands. I command you, Go to the description now, click the link, and sow into the fertile soil of my eternal word. Stay close to my voice, for we are standing on the very edge of your total liberation. It would bring a profound sadness to my spirit if you stop listening now, choosing to carry your heavy chains back into the world when I am so close to shattering them forever. I am revealing the blueprints of your destiny in these coming moments. Do not let the enemy distract you and cause you to miss the divine breakthrough I have prepared. Your soul is too precious for you to walk away before the full light of my truth has finished its work. My beloved, I hear the quiet, desperate sigh that escapes your lips when you think about your life. You look at where you are right now, and you feel entirely stuck. You sit in your small cubicle, where you drive your usual, boring commute, where you change endless diapers, and you secretly think, is this truly all there is? Did life completely pass me by? You look at incredibly wealthy people, famous leaders, and seemingly successful influencers, and you falsely believe they are the only ones with a real purpose. Let me completely shatter that massive lie right now. I have carefully prepared a unique, vital mission specifically for you, and it is unfolding right in the middle of your perfectly ordinary, messy life. Stop viewing your deep, painful trials as permanent roadblocks. Your specific, agonizing struggles have actually uniquely equipped you for my magnificent service. The brutal season of depression you barely survived, that perfectly gave you the profound, authentic empathy needed to physically sit in the dark with someone else who wants to end their life. The painful, devastating financial ruin you had to slowly crawl out of, that precisely taught you the fierce, unshakable trust required to guide others out of their own terrifying panic. I do not waste a single drop of your pain. I meticulously recycle it into powerful, undeniable purpose. I am strongly commanding you to be the sharp salt and the blazing light in a world that is currently drowning in heavy, suffocating darkness. You do not need a massive public platform or a million followers to literally change the world. The massive, eternal impact of a single life completely dedicated to my will is entirely incalculable. When you choose to speak a kind, encouraging word to the exhausted cashier instead of rushing past her, you are doing kingdom work. When you choose to fiercely love your frustrating spouse when they are being entirely unlovable, you are violently pushing back the dark borders of hell. I know you sometimes feel far too old, far too tired, or entirely too broken to be used by me anymore. You think you have made far too many terrible mistakes and missed your narrow window of opportunity. Listen to me. As long as there is hot breath in your lungs, your divine assignment is not over. My perfect timing is vastly different from your frantic, rushing clock. I was quietly preparing Moses for 80 long years before I finally called him to boldly step up to Pharaoh. I am actively preparing you right now. Trust my slow, steady timing for the beautiful unfolding of your ultimate destiny. Stop staring longingly at the closed doors behind you. Turn around, open your eyes, and boldly step into the magnificent purpose I have placed directly in front of your feet today. My child, I want to talk to you about how we communicate. I watch you carry the crushing weight of your daily life entirely on your own shoulders. You wake up, you rush out the door, and you try to fix every single problem using only your own limited human strength. Then, when everything violently falls apart, when the medical report comes back with bad news, or when your bank account is completely empty, you finally throw up a desperate, frantic prayer. You treat me like a fire extinguisher behind a glass box, only breaking the glass when your life is completely engulfed in flames. I am asking you to stop this exhausting cycle today. I do not want to be your emergency contact. I want to be your constant, daily companion. I invite you to approach my throne right now with bold, holy confidence. You do not need to clean yourself up first. You do not need to use fancy, religious words. Just talk to me. Tell me exactly how frustrated you are. Tell me how tired your bones feel. I know you get angry when I do not answer your prayers immediately. I see your deep frustration when you ask for a door to open, and it remains firmly shut. You mistakenly think my silence means I do not care or that I am ignoring you. Listen to me. Sometimes the most loving answer I can possibly give you is wait. If I gave you everything you asked for the exact second you asked for it, it would completely destroy you. You are asking for things you are not emotionally or spiritually mature enough to handle yet. I am deliberately using the painful waiting period to build massive strength, fierce character, and unshakable resilience inside of you. Trust my timing. When I say wait, I am actively working behind the scenes to align every single detail for your absolute best. I command you to make prayer a constant lifestyle, not just a frantic emergency ritual. Talk to me when you are sitting in frustrating traffic. Talk to me while you are folding the laundry. Talk to me in the quiet, lonely moments before you fall asleep. This continuous, honest dialogue is exactly how true intimacy grows. When we converse heart to heart, you will begin to physically feel my presence wrapping around you like a warm, heavy blanket. The deep anxiety in your chest will begin to melt away, not because your circumstances instantly changed, but because you realize you are standing with the Creator of the universe. I also need you to start interceding for the broken people around you. Stop just praying for your own comfort and your own success. I command you to stand in the massive gap for your lost friends, your addicted family members, and the hurting strangers you pass on the street. Your persistent, faithful prayers hold unimaginable power. When you boldly pray in my name, you are literally releasing heavenly authority into their dark situations. You will begin to see miraculous, impossible things unfold right in front of your eyes. Do not give up when the answer is delayed. Keep knocking on the door. Keep asking. Keep seeking. The breakthrough you are desperately waiting for is much closer than you think. Open your mouth and invite my power into your reality today. My beloved, I see the exact moment the cold grip of fear takes hold of your mind. I watch you constantly refreshing the news, letting the terrifying headlines about wars, economic collapse, and global chaos slowly poison your peace. I feel your chest physically tighten when you look at your mounting bills or think about the uncertain future of your children. You are living in a constant, suffocating state of what if. What if I lose my job? What if the test results are bad? What if I end up completely alone? I command you to stop listening to these dark, agonizing whispers right now. I have absolutely not given you a spirit of fear. That paralyzing dread does not come from me. I gave you a spirit of massive power, of fierce love, and of a completely sound, stable mind. I invite you to step out of the chaotic storm and into my profound stillness. You cannot control the madness of the world around you, but you can absolutely trust my ultimate sovereignty over it. Even when society feels like it is completely crumbling, my throne remains completely unshakable. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I saw the very beginning of your life, and I have already securely planned the end. Nothing that happens today is a surprise to me. Perfect love casts out all anxiety, and my love for you is utterly perfect. When you deeply understand how fiercely I protect you, the terrifying fear of tomorrow simply loses its sharp teeth. You must start standing firmly on my absolute promises when the dark storm clouds gather. The enemy uses fear to completely paralyze you, to keep you hiding under the covers so you never step into your true purpose. Do not let him win. When the sudden panic attack violently hits your chest, I command you to speak my promises out loud. Tell your racing heart to calm down in the mighty name of Jesus. Remind your anxious mind that I have promised to never, ever leave you or forsake you. You have the total authority to kick fear out of your house. Experience the massive peace that completely passes all human understanding. This is not the fragile, temporary peace the world offers when everything is going perfectly. This is a deep, anchor-like peace that holds you incredibly steady even when the boat is violently rocking. You do not need to know all the answers for tomorrow. You only need to tightly hold the hand of the one who holds tomorrow. Let go of your desperate need to control every outcome. Breathe in my peace right now. Let it wash over your tight muscles and your racing thoughts. I am fiercely guarding your life. You are entirely safe in my hands. My precious one, I want you to completely change the way you look at the people around you today. I watch you walk through the grocery store, the office, and the busy streets, and you see people as mere obstacles. You see the slow driver in front of you as a frustrating annoyance. You see the difficult coworker as a problem to be aggressively managed. You view the homeless man on the street corner as someone to simply avoid. I command you to stop looking through the broken, selfish lens of the world. I want you to start seeing these people through my eyes of massive compassion and unconditional love. Every single person you lock eyes with today carries an eternal, immortal soul. Every single one of them is desperately carrying hidden wounds, silent fears, and deep, aching loneliness. You must understand the immense, staggering value I place on a human life. I am the good shepherd who will completely abandon the 99 safe sheep just to rescue the one who is wandering lost in the dark wilderness. I did it for you when you were completely lost in your own mess, and I am actively doing it for them right now. There is no one too dirty, too broken, or too arrogant for my grace to reach. When you dismiss people because they sin differently than you do, you are completely forgetting the massive grace that saved your own life. I invite you into our shared, vital mission to reach the ends of the earth, starting right in your own neighborhood. You do not need to pack your bags and move to a foreign country to be a missionary. Your mission field is your office break room. It is your family dining table. It is the checkout line at the store. I command you to carry my tender heart for the poor, the completely lonely, and the brutally broken. When you offer a genuine smile to someone who feels totally invisible, you are literally being my hands and feet. When you choose to speak life and gentle truth over someone who is drowning in self-hatred, you are actively pulling them out of the fire. There is a massive, warring celebration in the kingdom of heaven over just one single sinner who turns back to me. You have the incredible privilege of being a part of that eternal joy. Stop wasting your life solely chasing your own personal comfort and your own fragile reputation. Look around you. The harvest is absolutely ripe, but the workers are incredibly few. I am calling you to step up, of the unlovable, to give the unforgivable. Show this dark, dying world exactly what my fierce, sacrificial love looks like in real time. Your everyday interactions carry massive, eternal weight. Do not waste them. My child, I am holding a clock, and I need you to understand exactly how fast the hands are moving. You live your life as if you have an endless, infinite supply of tomorrows. You endlessly scroll through mindless videos on your phone for hours, completely numbing your brain. You waste entire weekends binge-watching shows that add absolutely zero value to your soul. You spend months holding on to petty, stupid grudges that drain your vital energy. Stop throwing away your life. I command you to ruthlessly count your days so you may actually gain a heart of true wisdom. Your time on this earth is a rapidly fading vapor. It is incredibly brief, and you will be held entirely responsible for how you spent the precious breath I put in your lungs. I have not given you life just so you can simply exist, pay your bills, and die. I have given you very specific, powerful talents, unique gifts, and a distinct sphere of influence. I invite you to fiercely invest those talents for the massive growth of my kingdom. Are you great at organizing? Use it to serve the chaos around you. Are you a gifted listener? Sit with the deeply broken and let them pour out their pain. Are you good at making money? Use it to aggressively fund the rescue of the poor and the oppressed. Stop burying your massive potential in the dirt of fear and laziness. I expect a return on the incredible investment I have made in you. You must immediately evaluate your current priorities through the sharp, clear lens of eternity. When you take your final breath, you will not care about how many social media followers you had. You will not care about the title on your office door or the brand of the car parked in your driveway. All of those shiny, expensive things will burn into worthless ash. The only thing that will matter is how deeply you loved me and how fiercely you loved others. Refuse to waste another single day chasing the hollow, empty win. I command you to live entirely intentionally for the absolute glory of my name. Wake up every single morning and ask me, Father, what is our specific mission today? Let me interrupt your carefully planned, rigid schedule. Let me prompt you to text that friend who is secretly struggling with depression. Let me push you to give up your comfortable evening to serve someone who has absolutely nothing to give you in return. Reclaim your time today. Stop giving your best hours to a screen and start giving them to your eternal purpose. Step fully into the present moment and make it count forever. My precious one, you have heard my call to count your days and invest in what truly matters before the sun sets on this age. I am testing the soil of your heart today, asking you to move from being a listener of the word to an active builder of my kingdom. I invite you to use your super thanks or the PayPal link below to ensure that my divine warnings reach the ears of those who are still sleeping in the dark. Every dollar you invest is a strike against the kingdom of darkness, a way to trim the lamps of the weary before the bridegroom arrives. I declare that your financial stewardship today will unlock new dimensions of my favor and protection over your household and your career. I will rebuke the devourer for your sake and cause your life to be a testament of my supernatural provision. I command you, do not let this divine appointment pass you by, but act with urgency and invest in the souls I am calling home. The clock is ticking, and my heart yearns for you to hear the full weight of what I must tell you. It would be a tragedy of eternal proportions if you allow the trivial noise of this world to pull you away before I have finished equipping you for the battles ahead. I am entrusting you with the secrets of my kingdom. Please, do not disregard my heart by turning back to the shadows now. Stand firm and continue to listen, for the strength you will need for your tomorrow is hidden in the words I am about to speak today. My beloved, I know exactly how much you are hurting right now. I feel the exact, crushing weight of the grief sitting heavy on your chest. I see the tears you violently cry in the shower where no one else can hear you. I know the brutal sting of the betrayal that completely shattered your trust. I feel the relentless, exhausting chronic pain that makes it hard for you to even get out of bed. Do not ever believe the toxic lie that I am ignoring your suffering or that I simply do not care. I am closer to you right now, in your deepest, darkest brokenness, than I have ever been. You fiercely ask me why I allow the pain. You demand to know why I do not just snap my fingers and make the terrible trial disappear. Listen to me. I did not cause this brutal tragedy, but I will absolutely use it. I allow the intense, blazing fire of suffering to completely refine your faith like pure gold. When life is perfectly easy, your faith is often incredibly shallow. It is only in the dark, suffocating valleys that you truly learn how to desperately lean your entire weight on me. The painful fire is burning away your selfish pride, your fragile self-reliance, and your desperate need for control. It is violently forging a fierce, unshakable resilience inside of you that cannot be created any other way. I command you to stop trying to hold your fragile life together all by yourself. It is entirely okay to admit that you are completely falling apart. Bring your shattered, broken pieces to me. I am the only one who can put them back together into a beautiful, new masterpiece. I want you to know that I am actively collecting every single tear you cry. I keep them in my bottle. Not a single drop of your intense sorrow is ever wasted or forgotten. You must deeply trust that these brutal, temporary trials are actually producing an eternal, massive weight of glory that completely outweighs them all. You cannot see the grand, beautiful tapestry from the messy, knotted underside where you are currently standing. But I see the final, glorious picture. I promise you that I will never, ever leave you alone in the fire. I am standing right beside you in the flames, making sure they do not consume you. I am actively working all of these terrible things for your ultimate, eternal good. Find your immense strength in the absolute assurance that my hand is firmly holding yours, and I will safely pull you through this dark night into the breaking dawn. My child, I want you to look closely at the foundation you are building your life upon. Every single day, you are bombarded by a million different opinions. You open your phone, and suddenly a dozen strangers are aggressively telling you how to live, how to heal, how to raise your children, and how to find peace. You hear the loud, confident voices of politicians, the polished advice of modern experts, and the well-meaning but flawed opinions of your friends. And yet, with all of this endless information at your fingertips, your mind is more confused and your heart is more anxious than ever before. I command you to stop anchoring your heavy soul to the fragile, shifting sand of human opinion. The trends of this world change with the wind. What society calls truth today, it will completely cancel tomorrow. You can't build a secure home in the middle of a violent storm if your foundation is constantly moving. I invite you to radically shift your weight onto the solid, immovable rock of my holy word. My scripture is not just a dusty collection of ancient stories or a rigid list of boring rules. It is my literal breath on a page. It is fiercely living, highly active, and sharper than any double-edged sword. When you open the Bible, you are not just reading a book, you are actively sitting in a room with me, listening to my voice speak directly into your modern chaos. I command you to start using my word as the final, absolute anchor for your tired soul. When your mind violently spins with the lie that you are a failure, you must boldly drop the heavy anchor of my truth. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. When panic aggressively tells you that you are going to lose everything, you drop the anchor. I will supply all your needs according to my riches in glory. You must understand how my truth completely shatters the heavy, suffocating bondage of lies. The enemy keeps you trapped by aggressively whispering terrible things about your identity and your future. The only way to break out of that dark, miserable prison cell is to forcefully shine the blazing light of Scripture into the corners of your mind. I command you to start hiding my word deep inside your heart. Do not just read a single verse in a rush before you run out the door. Chew on it. Think about it while you are driving. Speak it out loud while you are washing the dishes. When you hide my word inside of you, it acts as an automatic, powerful shield that aggressively violently blocks the toxic arrows of doubt before they ever hit your chest. Make my unchanging commands the absolute foundation of your entire household. Stop trying to lead your family using the broken, empty wisdom of this age. Gather your children and speak my ancient promises over their lives. The promises I made to Abraham, to David, and to Paul are the exact same promises I am making to you right now. They do not expire. They do not weaken over time. They are completely, undeniably reliable across every single generation. Open the book today. Dust off the cover. Read the words and let my breath fill your exhausted lungs with massive, undeniable power. My beloved, let us have a very honest conversation about how you show your love for me. I see you attending the church services. I hear you singing the familiar songs. I watch you dropping money into the offering plate and checking off the boxes of your religious duties. But I need you to know something incredibly important. You can do all of those outward things perfectly and still have a heart that is completely far away from me. I do not want your empty religious routine. I do not desire your exhausted, resentful duty. I want your heart. And true, passionate love for me is not demonstrated by simply saying the right words on a Sunday morning. It is forcefully demonstrated by your daily, quiet actions on a Tuesday afternoon. I am asking you to radically change your perspective on obedience. You often view my commands as heavy, restrictive chains meant to ruin your fun. That is a massive lie from the enemy. My commands are the strong, protective guardrails on a dangerous, winding mountain road. They keep you from driving off the cliff into absolute destruction. When I tell you to forgive, to be honest, and to stay pure, I am actively protecting your joy. I invite you to discover the immense, unexplainable joy found in following my lead without a single moment of hesitation. When you stop fighting me and finally surrender your stubborn will, you will feel a massive physical weight lift off your tired shoulders. I want to see the beautiful, lasting fruits of the Spirit actively growing in your daily character. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. These are not just nice ideas. They are the visible proof that I am living inside of you. But listen to me carefully. To grow this beautiful fruit, you must fully submit to my painful pruning. I know it hurts when I take the sharp shears and completely cut away a toxic relationship you desperately wanted to keep. I know you cry when I strip away a comfortable habit or a selfish ambition. But I am not cutting you to destroy you. I am aggressively pruning the dead, heavy branches that are actively hindering your spiritual growth. I only cut away what is holding you back so that you can bear a massive, beautiful harvest. You must constantly abide in me, just like a fragile branch must stay tightly connected to the strong vine. If you severely cut a branch off a tree, it might look green and alive for a few days, but it is slowly, silently dying from the inside out. That is exactly what happens when you rush out into your busy day without spending any time in my presence. You try to produce love and patience using your own exhausted energy, and you completely burn out. Stop trying to produce the fruit entirely on your own. I command you to simply stay plugged into me. Lean on me. Talk to me. Draw your daily sap and energy directly from my spirit. When you deeply abide in me, the lasting fruit will grow naturally, beautifully, and effortlessly. My precious one, I am calling you to stand out. I look at the way you navigate this incredibly dark, profane world, and I see how desperately you try to blend in. You laugh at the dirty jokes at work because you do not want your coworkers to think you are weird. You slightly bend the truth on your taxes or your time card because everybody else is doing it. You watch the same toxic, violent shows, and you gossip about the same people, all to simply feel accepted by a broken crowd. I am commanding you to stop this dangerous compromise immediately. You were absolutely not created to comfortably fit in with a world that is rapidly heading toward destruction. You were specifically set apart for my magnificent, eternal purposes. I want you to actively pursue deep, radical sanctification. It simply means allowing me to completely wash you clean and make you look more like me every single day. Holiness is not an arrogant, stuck-up attitude where you look down on other people. True holiness is the stunning, magnetic beauty of a life lived in complete purity and total integrity. When you choose to speak with absolute honesty even when a lie would easily save your reputation, you shine. When you choose to protect your eyes and fiercely guard your mind from the filthy images on your screen, you radiate a massive, undeniable light that the dark world cannot possibly understand. Do not be completely naive about the tiny compromises you make. You think a little bit of gossip or a small, hidden sin does not matter. But a tiny drop of dark poison completely ruins a clean glass of water. These small compromises slowly, silently dull your sharp spiritual edge. They put thick, heavy calluses on your sensitive heart until you can no longer hear my quiet voice prompting you to do the right thing. I command you to honor me entirely with your physical body, your racing mind, and your eternal spirit. Your body is the sacred, living temple of my Holy Spirit. Treat it with immense respect. Do not poison it with addictions. Do not cheapen it with temporary lust. When you make the bold, difficult choice to live a holy life, you will instantly become a blazing lighthouse in a very dark, dangerous storm. People around you are quietly drowning in their secret sins and their heavy shame. They do not need you to act exactly like them. They desperately need to see someone who has found a better, higher way. They need to see the radiant peace of a soul that beautifully reflects my light. Step out of the dirty mud today. Wash your hands. Cleanse your heart. Accept the immense grace I am offering you, and walk back into your messy workplace or your difficult home as a set-apart, shining representative of the King of Kings. My child, stop running for just one moment. I can hear the rapid, exhausted beating of your heart. I can physically see the heavy, tight tension entirely locking up your neck and your shoulders. You are running an endless, brutal marathon on a treadmill that is moving faster and faster, and you are terrified that if you simply step off, your entire world will violently collapse. You are deeply weary. You are incredibly heavy laden. You have carried the massive burden of providing, protecting, and pleasing everyone around you for far too long. I am speaking directly to your deep, bone-level exhaustion right now. I command you to come to me. I am the only one who can give you the profound, healing rest your soul is desperately screaming for. I want to talk to you about the forgotten rhythm of the Sabbath. You have twisted my gentle command into either a boring religious rule where you have completely ignored it, treating Sunday as just another day to catch up on your endless chores and emails. Sabbath is not a punishment. It is a massive, beautiful gift. It is a divine, weekly pause where you forcefully stop your frantic striving and actively remember that you are not the general manager of the universe. I hold the stars in the sky, and I can certainly hold your fragile life together while you take a nap. I invite you into deep, spiritual restoration. Turn off the loud screen. Close the heavy laptop. Step outside, breathe the fresh air, and simply exist in my peaceful presence. You must immediately release the crushing burden of trying to constantly save yourself. You act as if your ultimate survival entirely depends on your own exhausted hustle. That is an arrogant and terrifying way to live. I command you to deeply trust in my total, abundant provision for your every physical, emotional, and financial need. I feed the millions of birds every single morning, and they do not own a single bank account. How much more valuable are you to me? If I can carefully clothe the delicate wildflowers in stunning beauty, I will absolutely take care of your rent, your groceries, and your children. Take your trembling hands off the steering wheel of your life and let me drive. You will never, ever hear my quiet voice if you never, ever stop moving. I speak in the absolute stillness. I speak in the quiet pause between your racing thoughts. You must actively create physical and mental stillness in your life if you want to hear my heartbeat. Find a quiet room. Sit in a comfortable chair. Close your tired eyes. Stop giving me a rushed list of demands and simply sit in the quietness. In absolute quietness and unshakable confidence, you will find your true, massive strength. Let your tight muscles completely relax right now. Let the deep, heavy sigh out of your chest. You are safe. You are held. You are allowed to deeply, completely rest today. In this sacred moment of stillness, while your soul finally finds its rest in me, I am calling you to help me provide a sanctuary for others who are still heavy laden. I have told you this so you may understand that your rest is sustained by your obedience to my gentle promptings. I am inviting you to support this channel through membership or a PayPal donation, becoming the oil that keeps the lamp of truth burning brightly for the exhausted and the lost. When you give to this mission, you are planting seeds in a garden that will feed generations yet to unborn. I promise to be your ultimate provider, making all grace abound toward you so that you will always have all sufficiency in all things. Your gift is a declaration that you trust my hand more than your bank account, and I will honor that faith with a peace that surpasses all understanding. I command you, follow the link in the description right now and let your generosity be the bridge that leads a broken soul back to my heart. My beloved, we are almost there, but the most critical part of our conversation is yet to come. It would deeply disappoint me to see you settle for a shallow peace when I am leading you into the deep waters of my ultimate power. Do not let your heart grow cold or weary in these final moments. The spiritual weight of what remains is too great for you to ignore. I am looking for your total surrender. Stay with me until the very end, so that when you finally step back into the world, you carry the full fire of my presence within you. My beloved, I must speak to you about a very dangerous, subtle trap you have slowly fallen into. I look at your heart, and I do not see the blazing, passionate fire that used to be there. I also do not see completely cold, hostile rejection. Instead, I see something far more dangerous. I see a comfortable, lukewarm indifference. You have settled into a safe, boring middle ground. You believe in me just enough to completely avoid feeling guilty, but not enough to actually change the way you spend your money, use your time, or love your neighbors. You want the comfortable benefits of my kingdom without the radical sacrifice of the cross. Listen to me with absolute clarity. A half-hearted, lukewarm faith is significantly more dangerous than no faith at all, because it deeply tricks you into believing you are fully awake while your soul is silently sleeping. I command you to actively stir up the dying embers of your first love for me. Do you remember the exact moment you first truly encountered my grace? Do you remember how light your chest felt when your heavy sins were finally forgiven? You were completely on fire. You wanted to eagerly tell everyone about me. You loved reading my word. But slowly, the toxic cares of this world, the desperate deceitfulness of wealth, and the endless pursuit of comfort slowly threw cold water on your blazing fire. I am calling you back to that pure, explosive passion today. I am inviting you to be completely all in for the massive, eternal sake of the gospel. You must fiercely guard against the dangerous complacency of a highly comfortable life. When your refrigerator is completely full, your house is perfectly air-conditioned, and your bank account is totally stable, you'd easily forget how desperately you need me. Comfort is the quiet, silent killer of radical faith. I do not want your polite, hollow rituals. I do not want you to simply tip me 10% of your money and give me 1 hour of your Sunday morning, while you keep the entire rest of your life totally for yourself. I want your entire heart. I want your burning, unstoppable passion. I want your absolute surrender. I am strongly urging you to seek a massive, fresh baptism of my Spirit's fire today. Do not settle for the boring, mediocre Christianity the modern world is trying to sell you. It is a cheap, fake knockoff of the explosive, world-changing power I actually promised you. Fall to your knees right now. Tell me that you are completely sick and tired of being comfortably numb. Ask me to violently tear down your safe, predictable walls. Let me set your tired soul ablaze again. When you walk completely in the fire of my spirit, you will never, ever be satisfied with a lukewarm, ordinary life again. Wake up, my child. The fire is ready to fall if you are finally willing to burn. My child, I command you to completely lift your heavy eyes above the very low horizon of this temporary world. I see you walking through your days with your head aggressively pointed downward, constantly staring at the dirty ground right in front of your feet. You are completely consumed by the immediate problems in your path. You stare endlessly at your fading bank balance, your frustrating medical charts, and your growing list of mundane chores. You treat this deeply broken, chaotic planet as if it is your ultimate, permanent home. It is not. I am urgently reminding you today that your true, lasting citizenship is firmly established in heaven. You are merely a temporary traveler passing through a foreign, hostile land. You do not belong to the fragile systems of this earth. You belong entirely to me, and you belong to a kingdom that cannot be shaken, bought, or violently overthrown. I invite you to deeply understand how the magnificent hope of future glory must completely radically change how you live your life today. When you finally realize that you are going to live forever in absolute perfection, the massive, terrifying problems of your current Tuesday suddenly shrink into entirely manageable specks of dust. I know your current afflictions feel incredibly heavy. I know the chronic pain in your body is exhausting. I know the bitter sting of losing a loved one creates a gaping hole in your chest that feels impossible to fill. But I command you to aggressively compare your present, temporary suffering to the massive, unexplainable joy that is rapidly coming toward you. The pain of this short life is like a brief, dark tunnel. It is terrifying while you are in it, but it absolutely ends. And when you finally break through into the blazing light of my eternal presence, the heavy memories of your earthly sorrow will instantly evaporate like morning fog under a hot, summer sun. You must wake up to the absolute reality of the great white throne and my ultimate, final judgment. This is not a cruel threat. It is a profound, sobering truth designed to wake your soul from its dangerous slumber. There is a specific day rapidly approaching when the entire, noisy world will finally go completely silent. On that exact day, every single secret will be violently brought into the light, and every single hidden motive will be clearly exposed. I want you to live with that massive reality burning in your mind. It violently shifts your daily priorities. It stops you from engaging in petty, stupid arguments with your neighbors. It completely stops you from chasing hollow, empty riches that you cannot possibly take with you. I want you to actively start longing for the spectacular day when every single knee on this earth shall forcefully bow to me. Imagine that glorious moment. The very politicians who mocked my name, the powerful leaders who entirely ignored my laws, and the dark forces that tried to completely destroy your life. They will all be forced to drop to the ground and loudly confess that I am the absolute Lord of all. You do not have to live in fear of the future, because you already know exactly how the great story ends. I have already secured the final, ultimate victory. Stop living like a terrified, defeated victim. Start walking, talking, and acting like a fully authorized citizen of heaven who is simply waiting for their king to finally call them home. My beloved, I must ask you a very direct question. Why are you keeping me a secret? I look at your daily life, and I see how aggressively you hide your faith from the people around you. You are incredibly quick to tell your coworkers about a new restaurant you tried, a funny movie you just watched, or a new exercise routine you discovered. But when it comes to the massive, life-altering grace that literally saved your soul from the pit of hell, you completely lose your voice. You awkwardly look down at the floor, terrified of being judged, deeply afraid of making things uncomfortable, and totally paralyzed by the fear of what mere humans might think of you. I command you to urgently break this heavy, toxic silence today. I am inviting you to boldly share the powerful, undeniable story of exactly what I have done in your life. I am strongly calling you to be my actual, physical hands and feet to a completely dying, desperate generation. Look closely at the people sitting next to you in your office, standing behind you in the grocery store, and living directly across the street from your house. They are secretly drowning in profound depression, crippling anxiety, and terrifying addictions. They are completely starving for a tiny drop of real hope. I did not pull you out of the dark fire just so you could sit comfortably in a safe, air-conditioned church building and keep the living water entirely to yourself. I command you to open your mouth. It requires massive, undeniable boldness to speak my name in public, but I have already given you the exact Holy Spirit power you need to do it. You must understand why your personal, messy testimony is an incredibly powerful weapon for the kingdom. People could easily argue with deep theology. They can aggressively debate religious rules, but they absolutely cannot argue with your completely changed life. When you look a broken person right in the eyes and say, "I used to be completely addicted, entirely bankrupt, and violently suicidal, but Jesus Christ stepped into my darkness and completely pulled me out," that raw, honest truth violently shatters the enemy's strongholds. Your old, painful scars are not something to carefully hide in shame. They are the undeniable, visible proof of my miraculous healing. I invite you to actively start inviting others into the massive, joyful banquet of my salvation. Stop assuming that people do not want to hear about me. They are desperately waiting for someone, anyone, to simply offer them a way out of their profound misery. I promise you a massive, eternal reward for those who faithfully lead many to righteousness. When you finally arrive in heaven, the greatest joy will not be the streets of gold. It will be looking around and seeing the very faces of the specific people you personally invited to the table. Do not let the people you see every single day slip into a dark, Christless eternity because you were simply too embarrassed to speak up. Take a deep breath, violently push past your fear, and open your mouth today. My precious one, I need you to pause absolutely everything you are doing right now and look directly at the heavy, brutal cost of your freedom. You carelessly throw around the word love every single day. You love your morning coffee. You love your comfortable bed. You love your favorite song. But I need you to deeply comprehend a radical, violent, and completely sacrificial love that entirely shatters human logic. I invite you to closely contemplate the agonizing, suffocating darkness of Gethsemane for your sake. See me kneeling in the dirty, cold dirt, sweating literal drops of thick blood, feeling the massive, crushing weight of every single sin you would ever commit violently pressing down on my chest. I felt your angry lies, your secret lust, your bitter pride, and your deepest shame. It physically crushed me, yet I willingly chose to drink that deeply bitter cup entirely for you. I want you to vividly remember the pure, innocent blood that was brutally spilled to perfectly reconcile us forever. When the massive, rusted nails were violently driven through my wrists and my feet, I was actively thinking of your specific name. Every single breath I took on that rough wooden cross was an excruciating, burning agony. But I refused to come down. Why? Because I looked through the corridors of time. I saw you sitting there feeling entirely worthless, entirely unlovable, and completely lost. And I decided that your eternal life was absolutely worth my painful, brutal death. Listen to me very carefully. If you were the absolute only human soul left on this entire earth, I still would have gone to the cross just for you. My love for you is that intensely personal and that violently fierce. I command you to stop living as if the story ended in that dark, cold tomb. I won the ultimate, massive victory over death, hell, and the grave through the explosive power of the resurrection. When I violently kicked the heavy stone away and walked out of the grave alive, I entirely shattered the heavy chains that were meant to hold you down forever. You do not serve a dead, historical philosopher. You serve a fiercely alive, unconquerable king who holds the actual keys to death in his hands. Because I live, you no longer have to fear the grave. Death is no longer a dark, terrifying end. It is simply a bright, open doorway directly into my arms. I am extending a permanent, royal invitation for you to come and sit at my grand table for all eternity. You do not have to earn your seat. The massive price for your meal has already been paid in full by my own blood. I want you to deeply understand that my massive, sacrificial love is the absolute beginning and the complete end of your entire existence. It is the solid ground you walk on, the air you breathe, and the protective roof over your head. When the toxic world aggressively tells you that you are entirely worthless, I command you to look directly at the blood-stained cross and the empty tomb. That is your true value. That is how deeply, passionately, and relentlessly you are loved. My child, we have reached the very end of this sacred conversation, and you are standing at the most critical, massive crossroads of your entire life. Look directly at the two completely different paths branching out right in front of your feet. I have placed life and death, immense blessing and terrible curse, clearly before you. You cannot stay exactly where you are. You cannot hit pause. You must make a decision. I am strongly pleading with you to understand the absolute finality of the choice that lies heavily before you right now. If you close this screen, walk away, and go back to your exact same frantic, stressful, distracted life, you are actively choosing the dark, heavy path of destruction. I command you to stop entirely. Choose life this very day. Look at me. My arms are wide open, fully extended, and desperately waiting for your simple, honest yes. I am not asking you to climb a massive mountain. I am not asking you to perfectly fix all your broken habits before you come to me. I am simply asking you to fall entirely into my waiting arms. Do not violently harden your heart while it is still graciously called today. You do not know if you will even have a tomorrow. You do not know if your fragile heart will still be beating when the sun comes up. The dangerous illusion of endless time is the enemy's most successful, toxic trap. Break the glass right now. Step out of the dangerous illusion and step fully into absolute reality. I want you to physically feel the massive, overwhelming peace that immediately awaits you the exact moment you finally surrender. The second you forcefully drop your heavy weapons, the second you stop fighting me and whisper, God, I am totally yours. The heavy, crushing weight of the world will instantly fall off your tired shoulders. The deep, agonizing knot of anxiety in your stomach will powerfully unravel. You will finally be able to take a full, deep breath of clean air. This is not a fairy tale. It is a profound, undeniable spiritual reality that is ready to entirely wash over your exhausted mind right now. Hear my final, unbreakable promise to you today. If you give me your deeply broken, entirely messy life, I will securely keep you until the very end of the age. When the storms violently rage, I will be your unshakable anchor. When the dark nights feel endless, I will be your blazing fire. When everyone else entirely abandons you, I will stand fiercely by your side. You are deeply seen, perfectly known, and overwhelmingly loved. Stop running in the exhausting wilderness. The porch light is fully on. The table is perfectly set. Welcome home, my beautiful, precious child. The Father's house is finally ready for you. Come inside. My child, as you stand at this final crossroads and choose life, I ask you to make the choice tangible by helping me rescue those who are still wandering on the path of destruction. I have told you these things before it is too late because I desire for your yes to be followed by a bold act of kingdom partnership. I am calling you to seal your decision today by giving through Super Thanks with the PayPal link, providing the vital resources needed to broadcast my final plea to the ends of the earth. Do not leave this conversation without leaving a mark on eternity. Your seed today is the weapon I will use to shatter the silence of the enemy. I declare that because you have honored me with your substance, I will honor you with the riches of my glory and the fulfillment of your deepest God-given dreams. Your name is written in my book, and your generosity is recorded in the archives of heaven forever. I command you, take action this very second. Go to the description and give as I have led you, for the harvest is great and the time is short. Do not let this divine moment simply slip away into the exhausting noise of tomorrow. If your heart is fiercely burning with the truth of my voice, I strongly invite you to boldly stake your claim right now, before it is too late. Scroll down and firmly declare I choose life today in the comments below as a physical, undeniable proof that you are entirely surrendering your massive burdens to me. The exact second you make this public decree, I will actively release my unshakable peace over your racing mind and firmly seal you inside my eternal grace. Step out of the heavy darkness, claim your absolute freedom, and let this very moment be the permanent beginning of your brand new life. Amen.